Chapter 1: The Glitch. Ashwell Academy liked to pretend it was perfect. Every glossy brochure showed sunlight on polished floors, cheerful students in navy blazers, and banners proudly claiming the most advanced boarding school in the southern hemisphere. But Lira Kim knew better. If Ashwell was so advanced, the lights wouldn't flicker like dying fireflies. She was halfway down Hall B, balancing a stack of textbooks, when the corridor strobed violently white, long enough to make her vision smear. Her smartwatch buzzed in response, screen blinking like a heartbeat out of rhythm. 3 digits flashed. Then her watch went dead. Lira. She nearly dropped her books. Noah Reyes jogged toward her, hoodie half unzipped, messy curls pushed back by a pencil he'd forgotten was there. He pulled out one earbud. "You good?" he asked. "You look like you just saw your GP." "Just a glitch," she said, shaking her wrist as the watch rebooted. "Again?" Noah frowned. "That's the 3rd one this week." Lira shrugged, though unease crawled up her spine. "Must be the storm last night." "The storm didn't target just you." Noah began walking beside her, tablet tucked under one arm. "Unless it has something against overachievers." She gave him a tight smile. "You keep saying that like it's a bad thing. It is when you start hallucinating error codes." Her watch beeped, fully rebooted. She exhaled until she noticed the home screen wallpaper had changed. It wasn't the default Ashwell crest. It wasn't her old picture of cherry blossoms. It was a blurred hallway, dark, narrow, a door at the end. On the door, 404, her breath caught. "Noah, did you change my—" He glanced at the screen. "That's not your wallpaper." "Why would I wait? Is that one of the old floors?" "The old floors aren't open," she said quietly. "Exactly, which makes this even creepier." Before she could investigate, the bell shrieked overhead. Students spilled into the hallways. The noise swallowed the moment. Noah nudged her. "Catch you after class. Movie night, don't forget." "Movie night." He blinked. "You told me last week you wanted to host a horror marathon. You seriously don't remember?" Her fingers tightened around her books. "No, I don't." Noah raised an eyebrow, but before he could ask more, he got dragged away by Kai and their drama club crew. Lira stood alone, the sound of laughter and footsteps fading into a dull hum. She lifted her watch again. The strange wallpaper had already vanished. In its place, the Ashwell crest, untouched, normal, like nothing had glitched at all. Later that day, in history class, Lira tried to focus on the lecture about ancient writing systems, but her mind kept circling back to the number, an error code for missing, a message for not found. What wasn't found? What was missing? When the bell rang, she moved slower than usual, letting the room empty out. As she zipped her bag, something slipped out of her notebook, a small square of paper. Her handwriting, delivered in her distinct sharp loops and slanted lines. "Don't trust your devices. E." Her heartbeat slammed against her ribs. Did I write this? When? Why would I warn myself? Picking it up felt like picking up a piece of someone else's life. Someone who looked like her, sounded like her, but moved through the world with fears she couldn't remember having. "Lira, everything all right?" Ms. Armand stood by the door, offering a gentle smile. She was one of the few teachers Lira genuinely liked, always smelling faintly of lavender tea. Lira crumpled the note quickly. "Yeah, just tired." "Get some rest," Ms. Armand said as she turned off the projector. "You've been looking a bit pale these days." Lira murmured her thanks and stepped into the hallway, but she couldn't shake the feeling that Ms. Armand's eyes lingered on her longer than usual. Nightfall. Ashwell's dorm buildings looked peaceful at night, warm lights in windows, faint laughter drifting from the common room. But inside room 117, Lira paced like the floor was cracking beneath her feet. Her roommate, Maya, lounged on the top bunk, video chatting with her girlfriend. "No, babe, she's fine. Just stressed." "You know Lira." Lira flinched. She hated being Lira, the reliable one, the organized one, the predictable one. She wasn't predictable anymore. She was unraveling. After Maya ended the call, she looked down. You okay? You've been weird all day. Just off, Ilara said. Off like forgot your period off. Or off like I saw a demon in the bathroom mirror. Off, Ilara smirked. Somewhere in between. Well then, go to sleep before you transform. When Maha's bunk light clicked off, the room fell into darkness. Ilara lay awake. Why can't I remember planning movie night? Why did Noah say I did? Why is my watch acting like it's haunted? Why did I warn myself? Around 2 a.m., she drifted into a restless dream, if it was a dream at all. A white room, a single chair, a silhouette of herself sitting in it, trembling, a metallic voice. Memory revision in progress. Ilara jerked upright. Her smartwatch buzzed. A notification glowed through the darkness. Room 404. You're late. Her skin turned ice. Room 404 didn't exist. So why did her watch think she belonged there? And who or what was expecting her? Chapter 2. The Second Warning. Ilara stared at the glowing message on her as if it might crawl off the screen. Room 404. You're late. The numbers pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. She rubbed her eyes hard, but the message didn't disappear. Did her watch even have private messaging? Only staff announcements and school schedules were supposed to come through. Maya slept soundlessly above her, earplugs in. The soft rhythm of breathing filled the darkness. The whole dorm was undisturbed, unaware of the cold ripple running through Ilara's chest. Another vibration. Her brow furrowed. A second message appeared. If you don't come, I'll come to you. Her breath clamped in her throat. She slammed the power button on the watch, but the screen stayed glitching slightly. Lines of static trailing across the numbers. This isn't real. It can't be real. A faint tapping sound came from the hallway. Tap, tap, tap. Soft, rhythmic, deliberate, not footsteps. Knocking. Ilara froze. The knocks weren't on her door. They were moving from door to door down the hall, growing closer. Tap, tap, tap. Her mouth went dry. She tiptoed toward her bedroom door and pressed her eye against the peephole. The hallway beyond was empty, except for dim blue emergency lights that made everything look underwater. Tap, tap, tap. The knocks paused. Right outside her door. She stepped back instinctively, heart racing so hard she didn't hear the soft ding from her watch. She looked down. A new message. Open the door. Ilara's fingers twitched. Instinct screamed no. Curiosity whispered, what if it's a person? Someone needing help. She braced herself, lifted onto her toes, and gently placed one hand on the lock. The door handle jiggled violently. Ilara slapped her hand over her mouth to keep from screaming. A shadow blocked the light under the door. The handle jiggled again harder. Then a whisper, low and mechanical, filtered through the crack. You forgot us. Ilara stumbled backward. The whisper came again, closer this time, as if speaking directly into the lock. Open the door, Ilara. She grabbed the nearest object, her metal water bottle, raising it like a weapon. The door fell silent. Seconds dragged. 1, 2, 3. Then footsteps retreated down the hallway, slow, as if whatever stood there suddenly lost interest. Her watch screen dimmed. The messages vanished. Morning. Ilara woke to Maya shaking her shoulder. Dude, you're seriously out of it. Alarm's been going off for 5 minutes. Ilara blinked, face puffy, throat dry. What time is it? 7:20. Did you cry in your sleep? Your eyes look rough. I didn't sleep. Well, that explains the face. Maya hopped down and rummaged through her makeup bag. Sit. I'll do your concealer. As Elle dabbed foundation on Ilara's cheekbones, she asked, Okay, spill. What happened? Ilara hesitated. How could she explain? Hey Maya, my watch threatened me at 2:30 a.m. and someone or something knocked on our door, whispering my name. She tried a half-truth instead. A nightmare. Same one as last time. Ilara froze. Last time. Maya nodded. The screaming dream. You said you've had it before. I don't remember that. Maha's hand paused. Her expression shifted concern, replacing teasing. Maybe you should see the counselor. I'm fine, Ilara insisted too quickly. Maya didn't push, but her silence said she didn't believe it. History class. It happened again. Halfway through a discussion about ancient Polynesian voyaging routes, Ilara's notebook slipped from her fingers. Something fluttered out and landed on the floor. Another note. Identical handwriting. Her handwriting. Same slanted E. Same sharp loops. She unfolded it slowly, pulse thudding in her ears. This is your third warning. Room 404 is not what you think. Her fingers trembled. Third. Did she miss the second? Ilara. The teacher leaned closer. You're pale again. Do you need to go to the nurse? Ilara stuffed the note into her pocket. No, sorry. I'm fine, just dizzy. Ms. Armand studied her for a moment, eyes calculating and deeply concerned. Please take care of yourself. You're one of my brightest students. Don't push so hard. Ilara nodded automatically, but her mind was spinning. Why would I be warning myself? What happened in room 404? Did I go there before and forget? As class ended, Noah caught up with her in the hallway. Hey, you look like death. Thanks. No, seriously, you're shaking. What happened? Should she tell him? Her chest tightened. Something in her whispered no. Not out of fear, out of instinct. He lightly touched her arm. Ilara, she swallowed, didn't sleep. Noah frowned. Okay, then let me walk you to lunch. And before you argue, yes, that's me being protective. She almost smiled. Almost. They walked side by side, the bustle of students around them like white noise. But as they approached the cafeteria, a small screen near the ceiling flickered. Usually, it displayed weather and announcements. Today it showed something else, a black screen. Static. Then white text appeared. Ilara Kim, report to room 404. Ilara froze so suddenly that Noah bumped into her. What? She grabbed his sleeve. Do you see that? He followed her gaze. The screen displayed the normal lunch menu. Creamy chicken pasta, garden salad, fruit cups. No error, no message, nothing. Ilara, Noah asked softly. What did you see? Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Because she didn't know how to explain the truth. The warnings weren't stopping. They were escalating, and somehow, some part of hers, some buried part, felt like this was only the beginning. Chapter 3. The room that isn't there. Rumors, said Ashwell Academy, had 4 floors. Official brochures swore it only had 3. The students didn't care either way, but the teachers, they never mentioned the 4th floor, not even once, which made it stranger that Ilara's badge beeped green, not red, when she tried the sealed stairwell door after lunch. She hadn't meant to check. She'd only walked past to test a theory she hoped was wrong, to reassure herself that everything was in her head. It wasn't. The reader blinked green. The lock clicked open. A freezing draft spilled over her skin. Ilara looked up and down the hallway. Students rushed between classes. A teacher lectured someone about tardiness. The building hummed its familiar, comforting noise. No one noticed her. No one saw her slip through the door. It shut behind her, with a quiet finality, like a mouth closing around a secret. The forbidden stairwell. The stairwell was dim, lit only by a single flickering bulb. Ilara hesitated on the first step. Why could her badge open this? Who granted her access? Did she grant it to herself? Her pocket warmed suddenly. She pulled out her small. Even OFF, the screen lit. A simple message. Keep going. Her stomach dropped. No, she whispered. No, I'm done. This ends here. She turned back. But the door she came through was locked again. Red light flashing. Reader dead. Her badge didn't work anymore. She was trapped on the stairwell side. The cold air deepened. A new line formed beneath the first. You were never supposed to stop. Her hands shook as she shoved the watch into her pocket and stormed upward, taking steps 2 at a time just to drown out the fear rising in her throat. The stairs twisted once, twice, then opened into a hallway covered in dust. The fourth floor, everything was drenched in a gray-blue gloom. Old lockers lined the walls, their paint peeling. The floor creaked beneath her, but something was wrong. Very wrong. Though the hallway looked abandoned, she could hear it, a humming, low, electrical, familiar, like the background noise of Ashwell's advanced systems, like the pulse of servers. She walked deeper. Her footsteps echoed unnaturally, as if the sound reached farther than the hallway should allow. Halfway through, she noticed the walls were lined with framed pictures. She raised her light. They were class photographs, decades of Ashwell students smiling stiffly. But near the end, a photograph caught her breath. A class photo from last year. She scanned the rows. There she was. Front row, smiling, hair neat, except she didn't attend Ashwell last year. She wasn't accepted until this year. Her throat tightened, her heart hammered. Someone had edited her into the photo, and badly, because the smile wasn't hers. Her eyes were too dark, too empty, like a doll's. A faint buzzing made her turn. Her watch lit again. "Do you remember this place?" She shook her head violently, as if she could dislodge the fear. "No," she whispered. "I've never been here." But her voice trembled because she wasn't entirely sure anymore. She tugged down the photo frame. Something slid out from behind it. A folded piece of paper. Her handwriting. "You came here before. You screamed. You begged me to stop. I'm sorry, E." The hallway suddenly felt narrower. The lights dimmed. The humming grew louder. A slow mechanical click echoed down the corridor. A door unlatching. Ilara's legs felt like jelly as she turned toward the sound. At the very end of the hallway, a single door stood illuminated by a faint, sickly glow. The number 404 was painted across it. Her entire body tightened. Room 404. The room that didn't appear on any school map. The room that every warning, every glitch had pointed to. Her watch buzzed again. She didn't look at it. She couldn't. Something inside her was tearing itself apart, fear, tightening one way, an awful, unwanted curiosity, pulling the other. The mechanical click repeated. The door was opening, a crack. Then a little more. Light spilled out cold white, almost surgical. Ilara stumbled backward. Something moved inside the room, a silhouette, small and thin, like a person sitting in a chair. Her dream, her nightmare. Memory revision in progress. "No," she whispered, shaking her head. "This isn't real. This can't be real." But the silhouette lifted its head. A voice echoed down the hallway. "You came back." Ilara turned to run, but something grabbed her wrist. Cold fingers, human-shaped. "Too real," she screamed. The lights exploded in a shower of sparks. Darkness swallowed the hallway, and everything went black. Chapter 4. The Duplicate. Ilara woke to sunlight, warm, gentle, completely wrong. She jolted upright, heart hammering, hands scrambling at her throat as if something were still choking her. Her breath came in ragged bursts. The fourth floor, the door, the cold fingers around her wrist. She looked around wildly. She wasn't in the fourth floor hallway. She wasn't even in the stairwell. She was in her dorm room, room 117. Same posters, same lavender-scented candle Maya wasn't allowed to light but kept anyway. Same messy pile of Maya's clothes. "Good morning," Maya said casually, brushing her hair in the mirror. "You were out cold. I tried waking you up, but you mumbled something about, 'I don't know fit.'" Ilara swallowed sand. "Fish. Yeah, you said something. Like, don't feed the fish my memories." I figured it was another nightmare, nightmare, nightmare. Was that all it was? Ilara tried to stand, but her legs trembled too much. She forced herself to sit still, breathing deeply. Her wrist tingled. She looked at her smartwatch. It was dead. Completely dead, not even showing a charging symbol. But that wasn't the strange part. The strange part was the cracked glass thin as a spiderweb exactly where fingers had grabbed her in the dark. Her chest constricted. Maya, she whispered, voice trembling. Did you carry me here? What? Maya laughed. Girl, I can barely carry my school bag. You came in at midnight and fell asleep instantly. Snored like a Labrador. No, Ilara whispered. That's not. I wasn't here. Maya turned. What do you mean you weren't here? Where else would you be? Ilara stared at her friend, eyes prickling. Maya's expression softened. Hey, you're scaring me a little. Did something happen? Ilara opened her mouth. I saw room 404. Someone grabbed me. I found notes for myself, warnings, photos that shouldn't exist. But none of those words came out, because something else clicked in her mind like a puzzle piece falling into place. Maya's hair. It was wrong. Maya had dyed it pink the day before cotton candy pastel. She'd called it making a whole event out of it in the common room. But right now, her hair was brown, pure, natural brown. No traces of pink anywhere. Ilara's stomach flipped violently. Maya, she whispered, what happened to your pink hair? Maya looked confused for a moment, like she was trying to remember something that didn't exist. Then her brow furrowed. Why would I dye it pink? I have a math competition next month. You know how strict they are about appearance. Ilara's blood ran cold. That wasn't true. Maya hated the math team. She'd only dyed her hair pink because she lost a bet to Noah. Ilara had been there. She remembered the laughter, the spilled dye, the terrible shampoo smell. But Maya didn't remember any of it. Ilara's hands shook. Maya, look at me. What's the date today? Tuesday, Maya said slowly. Second week of term. Her heart twisted. Second week of term. No, it was week 6. They had midterms soon. She had a project due. Ilara stood abruptly. The dizziness made her wobble, but she held onto the bunk ladder for support. Maya stepped forward. Ilara, you're freaking me out. I think something happened to me, Ilara whispered. Or to everything. I don't know. Breakfast. She found Noah immediately. He was in the cafeteria line, piling scrambled eggs onto his tray like an exhausted gremlin. He waved her over with his fork. Ilara, you look rough. She didn't waste time. Noah, what day is it? Tuesday. Week 2. Why? Her throat closed. Noah. She grabbed his sleeve and pulled him aside, voice barely above a whisper. Do you remember movie night? He blinked. Movie what? You invited me. Horror films. I said I didn't like horror. You said I suggested it. Noah's eyebrows knitted together. I never said that. You hate horror. I know that. Ilara felt the cafeteria spin. And do you remember Maya's hair? Pink? Dye. The bet. Noah laughed. Maya hates bets. What are you talking about? Ilara stared at him. He wasn't lying. He wasn't teasing. His confusion was real. Her memories weren't theirs. Something changed. Something rewrote things. Ilara, Noah said softly. Are you sure you're okay? You look like you're about to pass out. She wanted to say no. She wanted to say nothing was okay. She wanted to tell him that something grabbed her on the 4th floor last night. That room 44 wasn't abandoned. That she had warned herself in her own handwriting. But something stopped her. A sudden surge of static rippled through the cafeteria speakers. Students winced, trays rattled, lights flickered. The digital display board above them glitched violently, pixels rearranging like a scrambled puzzle. Everyone looked up. The screen flashed white, then black, then a photo. Ilara's heart seized. It was her, sitting in a metal chair, eyes wide, silent scream on her face. Behind her, a white room, fluorescent lights, wires running into her temples. A caption appeared beneath the image. Room 404, last session complete. Ilara couldn't breathe. The screen flickered once, twice, then snapped back to the breakfast menu. None whispered. None stared at her. No one had seen it, except her. Noah's voice came softly, trembling. Ilara, your face just went completely white. What did you see? Her lips parted, but before she could answer, Her watch dead moments ago buzzed violently. She looked down. A new message burned across the cracked glass. You shouldn't be awake for this part. The cafeteria lights died. Total darkness. A sound rose around her, a low humming, the same humming from the fourth floor. And Ilara realized something horrifying. Whatever was happening wasn't finished. It was starting again. Chapter 5. The Darkness Reset. The blackout swallowed the cafeteria in a single breath. Screams erupted. Trays clattered. Someone bumped into Ilara, but the noise felt far away, as if she were hearing it underwater. The humming grew louder, low, mechanical, vibrating through the floor. Through her bones, Ilara. Noah grabbed her wrist. Ilara, talk to me. What's happening? She couldn't answer. Her watch buzzed again violently like a trapped insect against her skin. Through the darkness, its cracked screen lit up. Resetting. Her pulse hammered in her throat. No, she whispered. No, no, no. The cafeteria lights flickered once, twice. Every time they flickered back on, the room looked different. First flicker. Students were mid-scream. Second flicker. Everyone froze. Mouths still open, but sound cut off like a muted video. Third flicker. The tables and chairs were gone. Empty room. No people. Fourth flicker. A white room, cold. Fluorescent lights. No. Ilara screamed, clutching Noah's sleeve, but her fingers closed on empty air. There was no Noah. There was no cafeteria, just white walls. A single metal chair, and wires dangling like veins from the ceiling. The humming deepened. Her watch buzzed one more time. A new message appeared. Session 17. Subject reconnected. Her breath hitched. Subject, she whispered. Reconnected to what? You're not supposed to ask that. The voice came from behind her, flat. Ilara spun around, but no one was there. Only a tall rectangular mirror bolted to the wall. Her reflection stared back at her, except it wasn't her. The girl in the mirror looked like Ella Rusumi hair. Same face, same uniform, but her eyes were wrong. Black, not like pupil black, like void black. A darkness that wasn't natural. The mirror Lara tilted her head. You came back too early. You weren't meant to remember yet. Ilara stumbled backward, muscles locking with terror. What are you? The mirror Lara smiled. It was a broken, wrong smiled, too wide, too precise, like it had been learned, not felt. You left something unfinished, and now it's leaking. Leaking memories. The reflection tapped the glass. Yours, mine, the ones they put in you. Ilara's breath came in shakier bursts. No, that's not possible. I remember my life. My parents. Do you? The reflection asked softly. Or do you just remember what you were given? A chill shot through her spine. Stop, Ilara begged. I'm done with this. I don't want to know. I just want this to stop. That's not how room 404 works. The reflection leaned closer, forehead pressing against the mirror from the inside. You're in it, Ilara. You've always been in it. I'm dreaming, she whispered. This is a dream. The reflection laughter distorted, glitching sound. You're not dreaming. You're waking up. The humming stopped. Silence pressed in from all sides. Ilara's watch vibrated once more, gentle, this time like a warning. Memory revision interrupted. Error. Subject resisting. Recalibrating. No, Ilara gasped. No, stop. Her reflection flickered. An image cutting in and out. Pixels breaking apart like dust. Then, in a glitching mosaic, another face appeared beneath it. Another Ilara. Hair shorter. Eyes terrified. Tears streaking down her cheeks. She whispered through the distortion. Ilara, you have to run. They're rewriting us. There, the mirror shattered. Screams exploded inside her skullnet from outside the room. Not from any human throat, but inside her mind. Like 100 versions of her crying out at once. Her knees buckled. She collapsed to the cold white floor, palms slapping the tiles. Run, the broken reflection whispered again, voice fading like static. Run before the next reset. The white room dissolved. The floor fell away. Darkness swallowed her whole. The world snaps back. A blinding flash. A gasp of air that burned her lungs. Lira found herself standing in the cafeteria again. The lights were on. Students were chatting casually. A spoon clattered somewhere and someone laughed. Everything was normal, perfectly normal. No blackout. No screaming, no mirror. No reflection with void black eyes. Lira. Noah's voice came from behind her. She turned slowly. Noah stood there holding his tray, expression worried. You okay? You zoned out so hard you didn't respond for like 2 minutes. 2 minutes. She had lived through an entire, whatever that was. Lira swallowed. I think something's wrong with me. He set his tray down. Okay, let's sit. Talk to me. Her hands curled into fists. Noah, before the lights flickered, did you see something on the board? He shook his head. It didn't flicker. Her mouth went dry. You didn't see anything weird during breakfast? Nothing at all. No. Noah searched her face. Did you? Lira didn't trust her voice to answer. Not yet. Her watch buzzed again. She flinched, heart spiraling, but when she glanced down, the screen was whole. No crack. No spiderweb fracture. No messages. Just the ordinary Ashwell crest. No trace of the nightmare she'd lived. But that was the terrifying part. If the cracks were gone, had her memories been edited again? Lira, Noah asked gently. She forced herself to blink, to breathe, to swallow the fear building in her throat. I'm fine, she lied, just tired. But as they walked away, her eyes drifted to the cafeteria wall of class photos. And just for a moment, only a second, she saw her own face repeated in 3 different photos, in 3 different years. Different hair lengths, different clothes, different expressions, but always her. Always Lira, and in one of them, the Lira in the picture stared directly at her and smiled. Chapter 6. Noah starts to notice. Noah wasn't stupid. He could pretend to be when it got him out of assignments or when teachers wanted volunteers. But underneath all the lazy humor and oversized hoodies was a mind that noticed things other people didn't. And right now, he was noticing more than he ever had, because something about her was wrong. Not in a she's tired or she had a bad night kind of way. Wrong like the air around her felt different. Wrong like she kept looking at things he couldn't see. Wrong like she was living in a world a fraction of a second out of sync with his. And Noah didn't believe in that paranormal nonsense. But he believed in a lie, which made everything worse. After breakfast, he followed her out of the cafeteria, watching the way she walked, too stiff, too careful. Lira, he said, trying to keep his voice gentle. Talk to me. Seriously. I know something's up. She didn't stop walking. It's nothing. That's the least convincing lie you've ever told. She didn't answer, just tightened her grip on her bag. Her smartwatch caught the light. No cracks. No spiderweb fractures like he remembered. Wait, remembered. Noah frowned, slowing his steps. He remembered her watch being cracked, a jagged fracture across the glass. But now, it was spotless. He blinked hard. Maybe he imagined it. Maybe he was mixing it up with someone else's device. Maybe. Lira, he said again as they reached the quad. I know something's wrong. And before you say it's nothing, I want you to know I don't believe you. She finally stopped. Her shoulders slumped. She turned toward him and, God, she looked scared. Not the kind of scared you get from bad grades or a creepy movie. She looked scared, like someone was following her. Like a shadow was attached to her heels. Noah, she began, voice thin. Do you ever feel like you're missing time? He frowned, like blacking out. No. What about remembering things differently from other people? He scratched his neck. Like the Mandela effect? She shot him a desperate look, and he held up both hands. Okay. I'm listening. She lowered her voice. Something's happening to me, and I don't know what's real anymore. Noah's chest tightened. Tell me. But she hesitated, and Noah saw it. The flicker. It was slight, barely noticeable, but he caught it the way her eyes unfocused for just a second. like static flickering across her face. He blinked. What was that? What was what, that thing? Your face just glitched. She blinked, confused and terrified. You saw it? Yes, I've seen it twice now. You get this? Flicker, like you're buffering. Her breath stuttered. Noah, no one's supposed to see that. Supposed to? He repeated. What does that even mean? She didn't answer. She just turned her head away, staring toward the main academic building as if something there was calling her or warning her. Noah touched her shoulder. Lira, I'm not leaving you to deal with this alone, okay? Her eyes drifted back to him. For a moment, Noah saw something else. A version of Lira he didn't recognize. Older, tired, hurt. Then she blinked and it vanished. I think I'm losing my mind, she whispered. You're not. Something else is messing with you, and I'm going to help you figure it out. Lunch break, Noah investigates. Noah lied to his friends, said he had a tutoring session, and ducked into the computer lab. If Lira was experiencing weird tech glitches, maybe something in the school network was involved. Ashwell's network was complicated, layers of encrypted tech, student data logs, access permissions. Noah wasn't a hacker, but he was curious and more skilled than he let on. He pulled up system logs for the last 12 hours. Every student on campus had predictable patterns: swipe in, swipe out, class attendance, cafeteria scans. Normal, except one. Lira KIM access points detected. Noah leaned closer. There were Pinksteiny bursts of activity from Lira's ID. Badge at times, she wasn't moving anywhere. Even stranger, her ID had access to the 4th floor. Noah sat back, stunned. The 4th floor didn't exist. The school locked it years ago. So why did Lira's badge grant her access? He clicked deeper into the logs. Another entry appeared. Unauthorized session. Subject 17. Audio attachment detected. Noah's heart pounded. He clicked play. Static filled the speakers. Then a voice choked. It was Lira. No. Stop please. Don't reset me. The file ended abruptly. Noah sat frozen. His hands shook. What is happening to her? He goes looking for her. He found her later by the class photo wall in the main building. She stood perfectly still, staring at the framed pictures like they were graves. Lira, he said softly. She didn't turn. You saw it, didn't you? She whispered. You heard something. Noah swallowed hard. Your id logged activity at 2:30 in the morning. On the 4th floor, her breath left her in a shudder. I told you. And there was an audio file. His voice broke. Lira, you were screaming, begging someone not to reset you. She finally turned to him. Tears brimmed, but didn't fall. Noah, I think they're wiping my memories. Noah stepped closer, lowering his voice. Who is? Who would do that? She shook her head. I don't know. But no, look at the photos. He did. Rows of smiling students stared back. Then he froze. In 3 different frames, 3 different years he saw her. Same face, different clothes, different groups of students. Okay, Noah whispered. That's impossible. You believe me now? I don't have a choice. She finally exhaled shakily. But Noah's expression darkened. Lira, there's something else. Her stomach twisted. He lifted his sleeve. A fresh, bruise, small, circular, almost like a fingerprint. This appeared after breakfast, Noah said quietly. I didn't hit anything. I didn't fall. He met her eyes. Lira, something grabbed me too. Chapter 7, The Memory in the Wall. The bruise on Noah's wrist hadn't been there before breakfast. Lira knew it. Noah knew it. And whatever made the bruise didn't feel human. The thought followed them like a shadow as they stood before the class photo wall. The long corridor was empty between periods, sunlight cutting in through tall windows and stretching across the polished floor. Lira lifted her hand to the glass. 3 photos, 3 years, 3 versions of herself. You really see it too, right? She whispered. It's not just me. Noah nodded slowly. Yeah, it's you. Or someone who looks exactly like you. That can't be possible. Neither can glitching faces. Whatever grabbed us, he gently touched his bruise. Ilara's throat tightened. Her fingers drifted across the photo frame of year 10, the one where her duplicate had short hair and a smile that didn't look real. She pressed lightly. The frame didn't budge. She pressed again harder. Still nothing. Noah crossed his arms. Maybe it's just a weird coincidence. Photoshop. I don't know, maybe the school reuses faces to fill gaps or... No. Ilara's voice cracked. They used my real face. From photos I've never taken. She swallowed, fighting rising panic. Noah stepped closer. Okay? So how do we figure out why? Ilara stared at the frame. Help me lift it. Together, they pulled at the bottom edge. It resisted at first, stubborn, like it hadn't been moved in years. Then something clicked. Not the sound of a nail. Not the creak of a hinge. Something mechanical. The frame slid upward, revealing a recessed cavity in the wall. Noah's breath caught. Whoa, hidden storage? It's not official, Ilara whispered. Look at the edges. The cutout wasn't neat. It wasn't school-made. It was jagged, uneven, as if someone had pried the wall open with desperation, not permission. Inside the cavity, dust floated like disturbed ghosts, and resting at the very back was a small metal box, dented, locked, burned along one side as if exposed to a surge of heat. Noah whistled softly. That's old, and definitely not schoolish. Ilara reached inside. The moment her fingers touched the box, a shock, not electrical, a memory. Something sharp and fast, like a flash of lightning in her mind. White room, straps, cold metal. Someone screaming her name. Noah grabbed her arm. Hey, are you okay? She gasped, chest heaving. I think I've touched it before. Noah's eyes widened. You remember it. I remembered. Something. She swallowed. Something bad. They sat on the floor beneath the window, sunlight striping across the tiles. The metal box heavy in Ilara's lap. Noah touched the lock. We need something to pry it open. Before Ilara could answer, her watch buzzed. Not a gentle notification. A violent, pulsing vibration that rattled her bone. The not cracked, perfectly smooth screen lit up. But the message wasn't the usual cold white text. This one looked different. Handwritten, messy, panicked. Don't open the box. Don't let him know you remember. Run. N-O-W. Ilara's stomach twisted. Her own handwriting. Like the warnings she found in her drawers. Like the notes she didn't remember writing. Noah leaned over her shoulder. What the hell? The text disappeared, replaced by a new message in sterile system font. Admin alert. Counselor session scheduled. Student Ilara Kim. Room 404. Noah swore under his breath. Ilara, that's not normal. Ilara's hands shook around the box. Room 404, she whispered. Noah, someone's watching us. A soft creak echoed down the hallway. Both of them froze. Footsteps. Slow. Measured. Not a student's carefree run. Not a teacher's brisk walk. Someone was coming toward them. Noah glanced around desperately. We need to hide now. Ilara shoved the metal box into her bag, heart pounding. Noah pulled her toward the far end of the hallway toward a recessed janitor's closet. He twisted the handle. Locked. Ilara. More footsteps. Closer. Ilara. She scanned the hall, panic rising. Then she noticed it. Another loose frame. Small. Just big enough for two teenagers to squeeze behind. Here. They ducked behind it, pressing themselves against the cool wall. Noah pulled the frame down just enough to cover them, leaving only a sliver of light. The footsteps approached. Slow. Deliberate? Someone stopped right in front of the photo wall. Ilara held her breath. She could see a faint shadow through the thin slit, the outline of a man, tall, still. He stood there, silently, for far too long. Noah's hand found hers in the dark. She squeezed it hard. Finally, the shadow shifted. The man moved, not away, but toward the frame they hid behind. He paused, right in front of them. Lira's pulse thundered so loudly she was certain he could hear it. A faint tapping sounded against the frame, a single finger tracing along the wood, and then, softly, as if whispering into her skull, a voice said, "Lara, you can't hide from your own memories." The steps retreated. Silence fell. Noah leaned his forehead against the wall, shaking. Okay. What the hell was that? Lara's breath trembled. She reached into her bag, pulling out the metal box. The cold weight of it settled into her palms. "Noah," she whispered, voice raw, "I think the answers are inside here." Noah stared at the box like it was a bomb. "Lara, if that thing has anything to do with room 404, she met his eyes. "I need to know." Chapter 8. The Man in the Hallway. Lara's pulse still hammered long after the footsteps faded. She and Noah waited another full minute behind the photo frame, too afraid to breathe, afraid that even a whisper would summon him back. Finally, Noah nudged the frame up just an inch, peering out. The hallway was empty. The sunlight looked to normal, almost offensively calm. He exhaled shakily. "Okay, coast is clear." They slipped out from behind the frame like two ghosts escaping a wall. Lara pressed a hand to her chest, grounding herself. "Noah, who was that?" He shook his head. "I don't know." But he wasn't moving like a teacher. "What do you mean?" He didn't fidget, didn't shift his weight, didn't breathe loud, just stood there, completely still. Lara frowned. Still, no blinking, no sighing, not even the sound of clothes moving. Noah swallowed. He was like a statue. A cold shiver crawled up Lara's spine. She had seen stillness like that before. In her dream, in the white room, the silhouette strapped to the chair. Memory, revision, in progress. She shook her head hard. "Okay, we need to figure out who he is. Someone like that doesn't just appear." Noah pressed his lips together. "I agree." He glanced back toward the stairwell. "We need a clue," he said. "Anything. Searching for the impossible." Noah guided her into a side hallway leading to the administrative wing. It was quieter here. Too quiet. The walls smelled faintly of disinfectant. The admin office door was open a crack. "Are you insane?" Lara whispered. "We can't go in there." "Relax. I just want to look at the staff board." The staff board. The large corkboard near the office door with photographs of every employee, teachers, maintenance, cafeteria workers, admin, proof of who belonged on campus and who didn't. They approached cautiously. Rows of faces stared back at them. Some smiling, some deadpan, some looking like their photos were taken under fluorescent suffering. Noah scanned everyone. Nope. His finger moved across the rows. Not here. Not here. Not here. Lara forced herself to breathe. "What if he's new?" she whispered. "Or temporary. Or maybe." Her voice faded. Noah's hand stopped. There was a blank space on the board. A missing photo. A small brass label beneath it read, "Systems Analyst Mr. Halden. Employee No. 404A." Lara grabbed Noah's hand. He nodded slowly. "Employee number, starting with 4. Okay, that's not subtle." Her heart fluttered painfully against her ribs. "Look, the pinholes. They've removed his photo recently, maybe even today." Lara's blood froze. Why would someone remove his photo? Noah inhaled sharply. Maybe because he's not supposed to be seen, or because he didn't exist. Not legally. Not on any public record. Not where normal students could find him. Lara leaned closer to the label, noticing a tiny scratch beneath the brass plate, almost like someone had tried to pry it off. She touched it. A faint jolt went through her fingertips, like déjà vu, like recognition. She pulled her hand back. "Noah, what if Mr. Halden isn't just some tech guy? You think he's involved with whatever's happening to you?" Lara thought of the voice whispering through the door last night. "You forgot us." "Open the door, Lara. You can't hide from your own memories." She swallowed. "Yes, I do. Students are not allowed here." A sharp voice cut through the quiet. What are you two doing? Lira and Noah jolted. Ms. Armand stood at the end of the hall, arms full of papers, eyes narrowing at the staff board. Her smile was polite. Too polite? Lira stepped back quickly. We were just admiring the staff board, Noah blurted. Lira wanted to see who was new. Ms. Armand's gaze moved slowly between them, assessing, like she was scanning for lies. Her eyes lingered on Lira. Too long. Students, Ms. Armand said quietly, are not allowed in this wing without permission. We're sorry, Lira said quickly. You should go now. Lira nodded. She grabbed Noah's sleeve and began pulling him away. But Ms. Armand spoke again, voice softer this time almost concerned. Lira paused. Ms. Armand tilted her head slightly. Have you been sleeping well? Lira stiffened. Yes. Are you sure? The teacher pressed. You look tired. More tired than usual. If you need to talk to someone, Noah cut in gently. She's fine. Ms. Armand's eyes flicked to him, then back to Lira. There was a moment, heartbeat where something in her face changed subtly, almost imperceptibly. Her pupils tightened. Her expression went blank, emotionless. And Ms. Armand said, with an unsettling calmness, make sure you're taking your sessions seriously. Lira stopped breathing. What? Ms. Armand blinked. Once, twice. Confusion washed over her face. I'm sorry. What did I say? Lira stared at her, horror twisting her stomach. You said, sessions. Ms. Armand frowned. I didn't say anything like that. Noah grabbed Lira's arm. Let's go. They hurried down the hall, out of sight, into the main building's safer, noisier corridors. Lira finally exhaled. Noah looked at her, voice tight. You heard that too, right? Take your sessions seriously. Lira nodded, and she didn't even know she said it. He ran a hand through his hair. Okay, so people are not just you. Noah, Lira whispered. What if Mr. Halden is controlling them? Or monitoring them, he said. Or reprogramming them. They both fell silent. Then Noah asked the question that had been growing in the space between them. Lira, what if room 404 isn't just rewriting your memories? She looked at him, terrified. What if it's rewriting the school? Chapter 9. What's inside the box? The metal box felt heavier than it should have. Not physically, but in the way that holding a loaded memory might feel heavier than holding a stone. Lira sat cross-legged on the floor of her dorm room, bag unzipped, the box resting in her lap like a relic dug out of a grave. Noah locked the door behind them and sat across from her. Okay, he breathed. Moment of truth. Lira nodded, but her fingers trembled as she traced the dented lid. Part of her wanted to open it immediately. The other part, the part that kept sending warning notes to herself, whispered, don't, but she had to. She needed to know why she was losing time, why she had duplicates and school photos, why room 404 existed off the books, why voices whispered her name in the night, why Mr. Halden seemed to appear and disappear like a glitch. Her watch buzzed softly. A single line appeared. You're so close. She shut the screen off. Okay, she whispered. Let's open it. The lock. The lock wasn't secure, more ceremonial than functional. Noah found a flathead screwdriver in Maha's art kit and pried it open with a sharp click. The box exhaled dust. Lira held her breath. Inside were 3 items, each more disturbing than the last. 1. A USB drive. Black. Noah stared. If this is encrypted with school systems, it's going to be a pain. Lira didn't lift it yet. Her fingers moved to the next object. 2. A folded stack of Polaroid photos. Her stomach tightened. The first photo showed a room she already knew too well. White walls, a single chair, fluorescent lights. Room 404. In the chair, her. Eyes open, mouth open mid-scream, straps holding her wrists. Lira's breath hitched. No, she whispered. No. The second photo was worse. It showed another version of her. Same face, shorter hair, a bruise on her temple. She was standing behind the strapped-down Lira, holding her shoulders in place. The Polaroid had a timestamp and faint marker. Session 12. Noah pressed a hand to his mouth. Lira, that's you. Helping them restrain you. She dropped the photo onto the floor like it burned. Her vision blurred with tears. I don't remember that. I don't remember any of this. She flipped through the stack, hands shaking uncontrollably. More photos. More sessions. Different versions of her, different hairstyles. Different clothes, different expressions. Resisting, being dragged. Being strapped down, assisting, observing. 100 a lot. All at different points in time. Or different resets. Noah reached out gently. Maybe they're doctored. Maybe they're AI images. Maybe they're real. Lira breathed. I can feel it. And she could. Each photo crawled under her skin like a forgotten truth. 3. A notebook. Small, leather-bound, worn soft at the corners. Her initials embossed faintly on the cover. Eek. She stared at it. Her name, her handwriting. Her fear. Noah, she whispered. I think this is my diary. He nodded slowly. Then you should read it. She opened it. Her handwriting, unmistakable, filled the first page. If you're reading this, then the reset failed, which means you still have pieces left. Good, you'll need them. Lira's heart hammered as she read on. My name is Lira Kim, but I am not the first Lira Kim, and I will not be the last. Her mouth went dry. Noah leaned in, eyes wide. Lira, what does that mean? She kept reading. Room 404 is not a detention room. It's a testing room, a manufacturing room, a memory lab. Her lungs stopped working. Manufacturing. Manufacturing what? Her trembling finger traced the next line. Lira Kim is a prototype, a repeating subject, a cycle. We are versions, copies, iterations. Noah's face went pale. Lira, you're not. You're saying. She shook her head violently. I'm human. I'm real. I have parents. A childhood. But the next lines crushed her. The memories you think are yours were given to all of us. We never had real childhoods. We never had parents. We were placed in, started, reset. Lira felt the floor tilt beneath her. No, her voice cracked. No, that's not true. I remember my mom's hands. I remember my old house. I remember. Tears blurred the ink. She kept reading through them. Mr. Halden oversees the resets. He is not fully human. None of the staff involved are. They are handlers. Technicians? Programmers? Noah whispered, oh my God. The next paragraph made Lira's stomach twist violently. Every time we resist or discover the truth, we are revised or replaced. That's why you've seen yourself in photos. Those are the versions that didn't make it past session 16. Her hands shook uncontrollably. Versions, she whispered. She turned one last page. The final lines were rushed, scrawled, smeared with panic. If you're reading this, I'm probably gone. Maybe you're me. Maybe you're the next one. But listen carefully. This is the only thing that matters. Don't let them bring you back to room 404. If you do, you won't leave as you never do. The rest of the page was blank. The entire notebook fell from her hands. Noah sat frozen, staring at her with an expression that wasn't fear. It was protectiveness. Lira, he whispered, no matter what that notebook says. I know you. You're real to me. You're you. Her tears fell hot onto her knees. Noah, what if I'm not the original? His voice broke. Then I'm going to help this version survive. Chapter 10. The first confrontation with Mr. Halden. Night fell too quickly. Lira sat rigidly on her dorm bed, clutching the notebook from the box, its pages now folded and trembling in her hands. Noah sat in the desk chair, elbows on his knees, watching her like she might break or vanish. The dorm was quiet, too quiet. Maya was gone, claimed she had suddenly been called to an unscheduled study session. That never happened. Nothing about today was real anymore. Noah stood. We can't stay here, Lira. He knows we found the box. He, Mr. Halden. Just hearing the name made Ilara's stomach turn. He's the systems analyst. But what system? What is he analyzing? Why do you have versions? Her breath caught. Everything in the notebook screamed answers she didn't want. Suddenly, a knock, soft, 3 times. Ilara and Noah froze. Then another knock. Exactly the same rhythm. Knuckles against wood. Slow. Noah mouthed silently, "Don't move." They waited. The hallway outside was silent, except for the faint hum of the academy's ventilation. A red exit sign flickered overhead. Ilara's watch buzzed. She didn't dare look. Another knock. This time, followed by a voice, calm, smooth, chilling. "Ilara, I'd like a word." Ilara's heart stopped. Noah's eyes widened. That voice, it was the same voice that whispered through the cracked door last night. "Open the door, Ilara. You forgot us." Noah shook his head slowly, but Ilara's legs had gone numb. Her body wanted to move even though every part of her mind screamed, "Don't." She forced herself to stay still. The knob turned. Noah whispered, "No, no, no, don't open." But the door didn't open. Mr. Halden wasn't trying to force his way in. He was testing something. Testing her? A pause. Then, clang. Something heavy hit the door, not like a fist, like a metal instrument. Ilara flinched. Noah winced. Another metallic scrape, long, slow, dragging. Then quietly. "Ilara, you accessed content that was not meant for your cycle." Her pulse spiked. The notebook, the box, the photos. "Noah," she whispered frantically. "He knows." Noah grabbed her hand. Okay. Listen, we're not opening that door. I don't care who he is. We stay quiet. We pretend no one's in here. Ilara." Mr. Halden's voice sharpened, as if he heard Noah anyway. Iteration surety. Ilara's blood froze. He didn't say student. He didn't say girl. He didn't say Ilara Kim. He said iteration, as in version, cycle, copy. Ilara's breath quickened. "Noah, he knows which number I am." Noah put a finger over her lips. "Don't talk. Don't respond." The metal scrape returned, this time lower, softer, as if he were using something thin against the door. Scanning, something worse. "Ilara," Mr. Halden said, almost gently, "please open the door. Your cooperation helps your stability." Noah mouthed, "He's lying." Ilara clutched her knees. Her entire body shook with fear and anger. "Iteration 17, Halden continued. "You are not functioning optimally. We need to correct your deviation." Her skin crawled. Deviation. Memory errors. Resetting. She was a malfunction to him. Another scrape. Then something slid under the door. A small card. Noah grabbed it, flipping it over carefully, eyes widening. "It's a hall pass," he whispered. "For the counselor's office." Ilara's dread multiplied. On the back of the hall pass, written in perfect block letters, Session S704, mandatory, room 404. Immediately, Ilara stared at it, horrified. Noah tore the card in half. Nope, never happening." A quiet chuckle hummed through the door, low, too smooth, almost simulated. "Ilara, I can hear your heart rate rising. I know you're scared." A pause. "You don't have to be." Ilara froze. "He can hear my heart." Noah's face drained of color. "What is he?" he whispered. Ilara didn't have to answer. They both knew. Not human. Not fully. Something else. Something that managed the system. Whatever the system was. Suddenly, the hallway lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then went black. A mechanical hum filled the hall. The same hum from the white room. Ilara clapped a hand over her mouth to stop herself from gasping. Noah moved closer. Protective. He's doing it. He's resetting the hall. The doorknob twisted again. Slow, deliberate. "Ilara, last request." No amusement left in his voice. Just authority. Just command. "Open the door." Ilara's voice broke. "Please. Go away." Silence. Then, "No surprise you're resisting. We anticipated this." Noah whispered. What does he mean we? Ilara Halden said with a calmness that sounded rehearsed. You don't understand yet. Something heavy slammed into the door again. A shockwave knocked dust off the ceiling. Noah jumped. What is he? Another slam. The hinges groaned. Ilara. His voice was closer now. So many before you cooperated. So many were grateful to begin again. Ilara backed away instinctively. Noah grabbed her shoulders. We need to leave. Out the window now, she nodded, trembling. Noah unlocked the window and slid it open. Cold night air flooded in. Ilara. Halden's voice sharpened. He wasn't asking anymore. Iteration 17. Then the door cracked, not metaphorically. It literally cracked. A long, jagged fracture splitting down the middle as something pressed from the other side. Ilara. Noah pulled her toward the window. Go. She climbed onto the ledge, heart racing, hands shaking. But just as she swung her leg out, everything stopped. The hum, the shaking door, the cracking wood, the flickering lights. Silence swallowed the world. Then, from the dark hallway, you can run, Ilara. A pause, but you can't outrun your original. Ilara froze. Her original? What does that mean? Noah whispered. Ilara didn't know, and she wasn't sure she wanted to. But deep down, she felt something shift inside her, a memory, or a fragment of one. A voice whispering, you're not the first. And suddenly, Ilara wasn't just running from Mr. Halden. She was running from the version of herself that came before. Chapter 11. Meeting the Original. The world didn't move normally after Halden spoke. The cracked door stopped shaking mid. Dust froze in the air. The cold wind outside the window hung still, as if suspended by invisible strings. Time wasn't passing. Everything was paused, except Noah, and something else. Ilara. Noah whispered urgently. We need to get out, something's happening. But Ilara couldn't move. Not because she was paralyzed, because her body refused to obey him. She stepped down from the window ledge without meaning to. One slow step, then another. Ilara. Noah grabbed her arm. His voice sounded muffled, like she was underwater. She turned to him, but her eyes weren't her own. Elaroot's wrong. Her mouth opened. A voice came out, but not her voice, not her tone, not her cadence, not her humanity. She's here. Noah recoiled. What? Who is? Ilara blinked slow, mechanical, and then she exhaled a single word. Me. The lights snapped off. Darkness smothered the room. Noah reached for her, but her hand slipped away like she was being pulled through liquid shadows. Noah shouted. But she wasn't there anymore. The white room again. Ilara found herself standing in a room so white it felt sterile. Not just blank sterile. Sharp, uncomfortable. The lights hummed overhead in a perfectly even rhythm. 8 pulses per second. As if tuned to a mathematical code. She wasn't strapped down. She wasn't restrained. She was simply there, standing in the center, alone. Except, she wasn't alone. A figure stood on the opposite side of the room, facing away from her. Hair identical, shoulders identical, height identical. Ilara's breath choked in her throat. No, she whispered. No, this isn't. The figure turned slowly, and Ilara felt the world drop out from under her feet. It was her, but not her. The girl in front of her looked older, not in age, in experience, in exhaustion. Her eyes were sharper, colder, full of knowledge Ilara didn't want. Her left cheek was marked by a small scar. Her right wrist had a faded imprint from metal restraints. She spoke first, and her voice was Ilara's voice, but deeper and cracked with grief. Iteration Shirtsi. Ilara's stomach twisted violently. Don't call me that. The original smiled sadly. What should I call you then? You haven't chosen a name yet. I have a name, Ilara snapped. I'm Ilara Kim. No, the original said gently. I'm Ilara Kim. You're the 17th attempt. Ilara stepped back. You're lying. She laughed softly, not cruelly, not mockingly. More like she had expected this reaction. Come here, the original said. Alara didn't move. Her older self sighed. Then she snapped her fingers. The walls changed. Lines of code snaked across them like digital vines. Faces flickered Alara's in different expressions, hairstyles, uniforms, Shursen iterations. Every version before her. Every face that was her, but wasn't her. Ilara's knees wobbled. The original walked closer. Her movements were deliberate, as if she had learned efficiency in a place without softness. Ilara, the original, said quietly, "Listen to me before Halden gets here." "I don't want to know." Ilara's voice cracked. "You don't have a choice." "I do." "No, you don't." The original raised her hand. Her palm glowed faintly, a mesh of biometric patterns pulsing beneath the skin. Ilara stepped back again. "What is that? What did they do to us?" "Nothing to you yet," the original said, "but they did it to me." Her voice tightened. "They optimized me." Ilara shook her head, desperate to reject every word. "You're not real. This is another reset hallucination." The original leaned in until they were inches apart. Her breath was warm. Her eyes were identical. "Ilara, I am as real as you are. More real, technically." Ilara's pulse hammered. "Why are there so many versions?" she whispered. "Why didn't the first one? Why didn't you survive?" The original's jaw clenched. "Because I refused compliance." Ilara's breath caught. "Compliance with what?" "With them," the original said. "With the program. With the memory revisions. With the purpose they made us for." "What purpose?" The room darkened. A hum rose from the floor. A memory flowed into the air, projected from the walls like a living hologram. Ilara watched in horror. Rows of girls, all versions of her, being examined, injected, measured, edited, all staring blankly as data streamed into their minds. "What? What is this?" Ilara whispered. The original spoke calmly, resigned. "Room 404 isn't a punishment, Ilara." She looked at her own hands, flexing them like they belonged to someone else. "It's where they build us." Ilara's entire body shook. "No, no, I'm not a clone. I'm not a prototype. I have memories. Real memories." Her original asked softly. "Or do you just remember what you were programmed to remember?" Ilara's fingertips went numb. Her breath came in ragged bursts. "I'm human," she said. "I have to be." The original stared at her with a grief that made Ilara's chest ache. "You're alive," she said gently. "But you were created, just like me. Just like all the others." Ilara shook her head violently. "This is wrong. This isn't real." She turned away, then froze. Because standing by the door, watching them silently, was Mr. Halden. His head tilted slightly, like he found the moment touching. "Iteration 17, he said pleasantly. "I see you've met the original." Ilara's skin crawled. Halden stepped forward. "And now," he said calmly, "we begin your final synchronization." The original flinched. "No," she whispered, "not again." Ilara backed into the wall. "What? What does synchronization mean?" Mr. Halden smiled. And behind him, two identical silhouettes appeared in the doorway. Two more Ilaras. Eyes blank, movements robotic. Not fully alive. Not fully dead. Halden raised a hand, and every version of Ilara in the room turned to her, as if recognizing her, as if waiting. "Ilara Kim Halden," said smoothly, "your identity is incomplete." He reached toward her. "It's time to merge your memories." Chapter 12. The merge begins. Ilara didn't know where to look. At Mr. Halden, who smiled like he was greeting a lab specimen. At the two blank-faced copies standing behind him, breathing, blinking, but empty. Or at the original, who stood between Ilara and Halden like someone preparing for a war she'd already lost. "Ilara," the original whispered sharply, "back up, don't let him touch you." But Ilara couldn't move. Her legs felt heavy, rooted to the floor, as if the whiteness of the room had seeped up through her shoes and into her bones. Halden lifted a hand. For a moment, his skin flickered. Human, not human. Human, not human. Something beneath his skin tried to reveal itself, a mesh of circuitry, a lattice of light, but it stabilized quickly. You're malfunctioning. Iteration 17, Halden said. Your resistance level is too high. We need to process you before your fragmentary memories destabilize the others. Others? Ilara choked out. What others? Halden stepped closer. Every version of the duplicates lingering in the doorway and the original beside her stiffened as if bracing for impact. Then Halden touched the side of her temple. It was so gentle, she barely felt it. The effect was not memory exploded, not memories, but data. A tidal wave of information slamming into her skull all at once. Her mind seized, not in pain, in saturation. She gasped as images flooded her eyes. Ilara, number 3, learning how to walk inside a white corridor. Ilara, number 7, crying during her first session. Ilara, number 10, trying to smash the white room window with her bare hands. Ilara, number 12, whispering, I want to die before a reset. Ilara, number 16, hugging the original, sobbing, don't make me forget again. Then, a newborn's scream. A lab. White-coated technicians. Fluid-filled pods. Her own face floating behind glass. Ilara collapsed to her knees, but her voice sounded submerged. Her own thoughts drowned beneath the data crashing through her. Halden knelt with her, tilting her chin almost tenderly. It's only the beginning. Merging memories is essential. You are not one person, Ilara Kim. You are a composite. No, she whispered, clutching her head. You are the sum of every iteration before you. Their strengths, their mistakes, their failures, their compliance. Stop. You were designed to merge, not to resist. He tapped her forehead lightly. Let the others in. Behind her, the 2 blank copies took a step forward. Their eyes glowed faintly. The original grabbed Ilara's shoulders. Listen to me, do not let them in. The merge is how they erase you. Halden's head tilted. Incorrect. The merge is how we improve her. The room shifted. The white walls rippled like disturbed water. The lights flickered. Ilara gasped and clutched the ground as the world swam around her. Then, she saw herself walking forward. Not the blank versions. Her. Ilara at age 7. Ilara at 12. Scraping her knee on a soccer field she knew she never actually played on. Ilara at 15, crying in a bedroom she never slept in. No, she whispered. These aren't my memories, these aren't mine. Halden spoke calmly, as if guiding a child through arithmetic. They're yours now. Every Ilara in the room, the blank ones, even her younger mental versions, turned their heads toward her, each pair of eyes locking onto hers. A collective hum rose from them, faint but unnervingly synchronized, like a hive, like a choir, like a system booting up. Then, they all spoke at once. Remember us, Ilara screamed. Her mind cracked open like a dropped plate. Suddenly she was running down a corridor as Ilara number 9, lungs burning, being strapped to a chair as Ilara number 14, fighting, laughing during a test as Ilara number 4, oblivious, begging to be killed as Ilara number 15, broken, watching herself die as Ilara number 11, no stop, IT. The original grabbed her face between trembling hands. Ilara, look at me, Ilara tried. But the merging was accelerating. Her vision flickered between realities. White room, dorm room, classroom, birth pod, reset chamber, hospital corridor, a funeral, a birthday she never had, a lab burning, a girl screaming, a girl smiling, a girl dying, a girl killing. The original shook her hard. Ilara, listen. Ilara couldn't. She was losing her name, losing her sense of self, losing everything. Then, through the chaos, the original pressed her forehead to Ilara. Her voice cut through the noise like a blade. Iteration 17. You are not them, Ilara gasped. Her mind snapped into sharp focus for one split second. She clung to it desperately. The original squeezed her shoulders. You are you. That's why they want to merge you. You resist. You feel. You question. Behind them, Halden's voice sharpened. Stop interfering. She must absorb the previous cycle's data. And if she does, the original growled, she stops being her. Halden raised his hand. The entire room vibrated. The blank Ilaris stepped forward in unison. The original wrapped her arms around Ilara's head. Ilara, listen. To me, there's only one way to stop the merge. Ilara's heart hammered. You have to choose an identity they didn't give you. Her breath caught. What? It means the original whispered urgently. You have to reject the name Ilara Kim, the memories, the programming. You need to choose who you are, not who they made. Halden stepped forward, furious. Do not teach her that. Ilara's vision blurred. The blank versions reached for her. The hum rose again. The merge kept forcing itself into her mind. 1,000 voices screaming, "Be Ilara, be Ilara." The original held her tighter. "Ilara, tell me your name." Ilara gasped. "I don't know." "Then choose." Her older self's voice trembled. "Choose something that's yours." Halden raised his voice, booming, echoing through the room like a command from everywhere at once. Iteration 17. Complete the merge. The blank versions lunged. Ilara screamed and spoke a name. Not the one given to her. Not the one on her records. Not Ilara Kim. A name she had never heard before. A name that felt like hers. A name that shattered the merge. The lights exploded. The walls tore open. The blank versions convulsed. Halden recoiled, shielded his face. And the original smiled through tears. You did it. The room dissolved. Everything went white. Chapter 13. The aftermath of choosing a new identity. The world returned in pieces. A sound first, a slow rhythmic beeping. Then light, pale and flickering like a dying bulb. Then pain, blooming behind her eyes in a pulsing, electric ache. She tasted metal. Something cold lay beneath her back. The floor, not the white room, not the dorm. Something in between. She groaned and pushed herself up, palms flat against a smooth surface. Her head throbbed as if someone had pried it open and poured boiling data inside. She blinked hard as vision sharpened. She was in the hallway outside her dorm. The cracked door was closed. The air was still. No Halden, no blank versions, no original, just silence. And Noah was kneeling beside her, hands shaking as he touched her cheek. Hey, can you hear me?" His voice cracked. Please wake up." She blinked again. Noah. He let out a shaky breath that sounded like relief and fear tangled together. "Oh, thank God. I don't know what I thought." "You collapsed. You just collapsed." Collapsed. Had it all been in her mind? No. Her hands were shaking too violently for that. Her pulse was a drumbeat in her throat. Everything she'd seen, everything she'd remembered. The merge, the original, the blank versions, her name, the name she chose. Her breath caught. Noah brushed a strand of hair behind her ear. "Are you okay?" She nodded, then stopped. No, she wasn't okay. Something felt different, something seismic. Her mind felt too quiet, not empty, but finally her own. Like someone shut off the chorus of voices inside her head. She whispered, "Noah." "What's my name?" He blinked. "Ilara." "No." Tears welled unexpectedly. "I changed it." He stared at her. "Changed it?" She took a trembling breath. "I rejected Ilara Kim. I had to. It was the only way to stop the merge." Noah sat back on his heels, trying to process that. "So what is it?" he asked softly. The name rose to her lips. Her voice cracked as she spoke. "Lira." Noah repeated it quietly, testing it. "Lira." Her whole body shivered. Hearing it aloud felt like a lock unclicking inside her chest. The system of memories, all of it loosened its grip. Lira, her identity, hers. Noah reached out, took her trembling hands in his. "Lira," he said gently. "I like it." A tear slipped down her cheek. She hadn't expected to cry. Not from choosing a name, not from reclaiming something, but maybe that was exactly why she cried. Because it was hers. Because it meant she existed outside everything Halden had designed. Because she was really Evan if they hadn't intended her to be. The system reacts. A sound startled them both. A low mechanical worry from overhead. Noah stiffened. What was that? The hallway lights flickered. Once, twice. Then all at once, the Academy's PA system crackled to life. Attention, system error. User profile, Lira Kim, not found. Lira's heart lurched. Noah's face went pale. Lira, it's looking for you. Another message. Identity file corrupted. Initiating search for unregistered subject. Noah grabbed her bag and shoved it into her arms. We have to go. Right now? But the PA continued, voice flattening into a robotic monotone. Iteration 17 location required. Report immediately. Lira shook her head violently. No, I'm not Ilara anymore. It can't call me that. It doesn't care what you call yourself, Noah hissed. It cares what you were programmed as. And now that you broke out of it, you're a... He didn't finish. Because the hallway lights surged bright white. So bright, they burned. Then, darkness. A mechanical hum filled the air. The sound that always preceded a reset. Lira grabbed Noah's arm. Noah, run. But before they could move, the wall in front of them glitched. Literally glitched. Pixels broke apart, shimmering, flickering, reforming. A hole tore open in the fabric of the hallway, like a digital rip revealing a dark corridor beneath reality itself. From within that corridor, footsteps, soft, measured. Too familiar, Noah whispered. Lira, it's Halden. A silhouette stepped through the glitching wall. A tall figure. Smooth, unnatural movements, eyes glowing faintly blue through the darkness. Mr. Halden. Except, no longer wearing human skin. It flickered like static, glitching on and off, revealing a mechanical skeleton beneath, shining with white-blue circuitry. His voice echoed softly. Iteration 17. You have deviated from your assigned identity. Lira grabbed Noah's hand, trembling. Halden tilted his head, studying her with almost clinical fascination. Lira. He spoke her chosen name with unsettling precision. You have made an error. Her breath caught. Noah stepped between them, fists clenched. Stay away from her. Halden didn't even look at him. Identity remapping must be corrected. You do not get to choose who you are. Lira shook violently, but she held her ground. No, she whispered. I do choose. I'm not your iteration anymore. Halden's blue eyes narrowed. Then you are no longer useful. The hum intensified. The walls glitched. The floor vibrated. And Halden raised a hand, white light building in his palm. As he spoke her new name again, Lira, it is time to erase you. Chapter 14, The Original Returns. Halden raised his hand. White light built in his palm, crackling, humming with an energy that felt like the opposite of life. Not fire, not lightning. Something mechanical, like a weapon powered by memories instead of electricity. The hallway around them warped. Floor tiles rippled like water. Locker doors flickered between open and closed. The ceiling blinked in and out of existence. Reality itself was destabilizing. Noah stood in front of Lira, fists clenched even though he was hopelessly outmatched. Stay away from her, he said, voice shaking but loud. Halden didn't even glance at him. Step aside, organic obstacle. Noah's jaw dropped. Wow, rude. Lira tore her hand from Noah's and stepped forward, trembling but defiant. Halden, she said, breath shaking, I'm not Ilara anymore. His eyes flickered blue-white. I do not recognize the designation, Lira. Exactly, she whispered. You can't erase me if you can't identify me. Halden lowered his hand slightly, not because he was intimidated, but because he was reassessing. You have deviated, he said. Deviation must be corrected. I'm not a malfunction, Lira snapped. I'm a person. You, Halden said, are property. The floor cracked under Lira's feet. Noah lunged to grab her, but Halden's hand snapped up again. White light surged. Lira, Noah shouted. The blast fired. The world collapsed into bright, obliterating light. And then, A body slammed into Lira, shoving her sideways. Not Noah. Stronger, faster, familiar. The white blast hit the opposite wall, ripping a hole in reality as if it were tearing through a projection screen. Hands grabbed Lyra's shoulders. Move. Lira gasped. That voice. She turned, standing between her and Halden, breath ragged. Eyes burning with fury, was the original. Older, elongated. The first alone. Her hair wild, her uniform torn, her scar catching the flickering light. Why you? Lira stammered. I thought you... Dead, the original snapped. I've been dead 6 times. It never sticks. Halden's head twitched. I eliminated you. You tried, the original said, cracking her knuckles. Big difference. Lyra's chest swelled with a mix of terror and awe. How did you get out? Lira whispered. The original smirked, a fierce, unhinged, exhausted smirk. I break everything I touch. Halden stepped forward. No more delays, he said. Iteration 17 must be erased to prevent corruption of future cycles. Funny, the original said, stepping in front of Lira. Because corruption is exactly what I'm aiming for. Halden lifted his hand again, but the original was already moving. Fast, faster than any human. She grabbed Lyra's wrist with one hand and Noah's with the other. Run. With that command, the hallway warped again. Reality twisted around them as if the school couldn't decide what version it wanted to be. They sprinted. Doors shifted. Walls appeared and disappeared. Stairs folded and unfolded like origami. Halden's footsteps echoed behind them, perfectly even, perfectly timed. He wasn't running. He was calculating. You cannot escape. The original barked a laugh, says the glitch in a cheap meat suit. Halden's eyes burned brighter. Your defiance is inefficient. So am I, she shot back. That's why I'm dangerous. Noah stumbled as the staircase shifted under him. The floor flickered out and back in, sending him crashing against the railing. Lira grabbed him before he could fall. Keep going. The original skidded to a stop at a dead end, or what looked like a dead end. The lockers flickered. Behind them was a faint outline, like a doorway hiding beneath digital static. The original slammed her hand against it. The outline pulsed. It's still here, she muttered. Good. Halden's voice grew louder behind them. Iteration 17. Cease motion. The original grabbed Lyra's shoulders. Listen to me, Lira. You broke the cycle. That means you can survive this. Lira shook her head violently. I don't understand any of this. You will? Why are you helping me? The original's expression softened, a strange, painful tenderness. Because you're the first one who ever tried to name herself. Lyra's breath hitched. Is that really enough reason? The original smiled sadly. For us, it's everything. Halden turned the corner. He raised his hand. The white light charged again. The original yanked open the hidden glitch door, ripping it apart and shoved Lira and Noah through. Just before she stepped in, she turned back, eyes fierce. Hey, Halden. He paused. You forgot something. Halden tilted his head. What? The original smirked. I'm still alive. She slammed the glitch door shut, and the world went black. Chapter 15. The original's backstory. The world on the other side of the glitch door was wrong. Wrong like a picture put together with pieces from the wrong puzzles. Wrong like a dream you knew wasn't real but could feel anyway. The corridor they fell into was narrow and dim, lit by flickering strips of neon embedded in the ceiling. The walls looked like raw concrete and digital noise blended together, pixelated in some places, like reality hadn't rendered properly. Noah groaned, pushing himself up. Okay, this is officially the freakiest nightmare I've ever had. This isn't a nightmare, the original said sharply. It's a buffer zone. A what? Lira asked, catching her breath. A place between realities. She wiped dust from her scarred cheek. Not meant for students. Not meant for anyone really. But it's the only place Halden can't fully track us yet. Lira swallowed hard. Her heart still pounded from the chase. Where are we, exactly? The original rested her hand against a glitching section of wall. The pixels fluttered like static butterflies. This is where the academy resets itself, she murmured, where memories, schedules, and students get patched over. Noah shivered. Feels like a giant computer that breathes. That's not far off, the original said. Lira pressed a hand against her head, where pain pulsed from the half-completed merge. You said you died. More than once. How is that possible? The original exhaled shakily. She walked a few feet away, leaning against the wall as though the story weighed too much to carry while standing. Sit, she said softly. You need to hear this before things get worse. Lira and Noah sat opposite her, knees brushing the gritty floor. The hum of the corridor vibrated around them. The original closed her eyes and began. I was the first, the prototype. When I woke up in the white room, the real white room, my first memory was Halden's face. She glanced at Lira. He looked more human back then. Lyra's breath froze. He told me I had been selected for an academic program. Told me I had a family, a home, a future. Her lip trembled, and I believed him. Noah's brow creased. So, were you born or grown? The original gave a hollow laugh. Neither. I was started. She touched the scar on her cheek. They printed my memories like files into a drive. Childhood holidays, fake friends, a mother's voice, none of it real. Lira felt nausea crawl up her throat. So, you never had a real life? No, but I didn't know that at first. I thought I was normal. She paused, until the cracks appeared. Cracks? The original nodded. One night, I woke up in class. Everyone around me frozen, not sleeping, just still. Paused. Noah shivered, like when the hall froze outside your dorm. Exactly, the original said. I didn't understand it then. I walked through the school calling for help, but everyone stayed frozen. She clenched her fists. And then I found a corridor I'd never seen before. One that, according to my memory, shouldn't have existed. Lira whispered. The fourth floor. Yes, the original's voice darkened. The fourth floor was never meant to be accessed by students. It's a server floor, a maintenance space, a classroom for memories. She looked up at Lira. A classroom for our memories. Lira felt her heart twist painfully. What happened when you found it? The original stared into the glitching wall as if watching a ghost replay a scene. I found a door labeled 404, and I heard my own voice screaming from inside. Lira's breath caught. The original continued, voice cracking. I opened the door and saw myself strapped to a chair. A version of me that looked older, more tired. She was begging someone to help her. Her eyes burned with the memory, and Halden stood beside her, calm, cold, hands on her temples, resetting her. Noah whispered, horrified. You watched yourself get reset. I watched a previous iteration, the original said. I didn't understand then, but later I realized. She swallowed hard. I wasn't the first Ilara Kim. I was somewhere around iteration U or Lil. Lira's throat tightened. How did you become the original if you weren't the first? The original looked away, ashamed. I lived the longest. I resisted the hardest. I broke the most rules. I escaped resets by hiding my waking hours in glitch spaces. I survived the longest cycles. She laughed bitterly. That made me the original, the oldest surviving one. Lira's voice shook. How did you escape? The original's eyes flicked back to her. I didn't escape, Lira. Over and over. Noah tensed. How? The original's voice went flat. Malfunction, overload, system failure. She touched her temple. Every time I resisted too hard, Halden rewrote too much. Eventually my brain overloaded and shut down. Lira's blood ran cold, but my data didn't disappear. The original's eyes darkened. They archived it, copied it, injected pieces of me into every new iteration, including you. Lira covered her mouth. So when I started remembering things that weren't mine, that was me. The original's voice faltered. All my deaths, all my escapes, all my memories of being experimented on, leaked into you. Then how are you here? Noah asked quietly. If you died, I didn't stay dead. She gave a hollow smile. They resurrected me. Noah blinked. Resurrected you, not my body. That's long gone. She tapped her temple. But they brought back the version of me stored in the archive. They reconstructed me from memory fragments, Lira whispered. So you're data. I'm a consciousness, made of error logs and archived memories, a ghost built out of deleted files. She leaned forward. But that makes me dangerous, Lira. Because I'm not bound to their programming anymore. And I'm not afraid of dying. Because I already did 6 times. Lira wiped tears from her cheeks. So why help me? The original held her gaze. Because you're the last version. You're the first one to choose your own name. And if anyone can break the cycle, if anyone can destroy Halden and the system, it's you. Lira felt the weight of that settle into her bones. The original leaned closer. No more running, she whispered. If you want to live, we take him down. Lyra's breath shook. Just tell me how. The corridor lights flickered rapidly. The wall behind them glitched harder, pixels swirling. A distorted voice echoed from the glitch-lit darkness. You can't hide in the buffer zone forever. Halden. He had found them. The original's face hardened. Good, she said. Let him come. She turned toward Lira, eyes fierce. Time to stop being a version, Lira. Time to become the one they never prepared for. Chapter 16. The plan to destroy Room 404. The corridor trembled again. Halden's distorted voice echoed through the glitch space like a digital roar. You cannot evade reintegration. Lira flinched. Noah pressed closer to her, protective even while scared out of his mind. But the original scarred, fierce, and impossibly calm just cracked her knuckles. Let him scream, she muttered. The more noise he makes, the more desperate he is. Noah swallowed. Yeah, but he's also ripping reality apart to get to us. That seems bad. The original turned to them. We don't have long. The buffer zone collapses once he finds a stable anchor point. We need to decide now if we're running. I'm tired of running, Lira said, surprising herself with the strength in her voice. Tell me how to end this. The original smiled a grim, proud smile. Good, then listen closely. She moved toward a section of trembling wall. With a swipe of her fingertips, the pixels bent away like fabric, revealing a glowing grid behind it. Light pulsed in repeating waves. Lira gasped. What is that? The school's neural core, the original said. The system that runs Ashwell. And room 404. Noah frowned. Wait, are you saying the school has a brain? Yes. Her voice went flat. Because Ashwell Academy isn't a school, it's a simulation environment. Lira felt the floor drop out from under her. A simulation. But no, I've touched things. I've eaten food. It's a hybrid system, the original clarified. Part real, part all controlled. The physical walls are there, but everything else. She gestured at the corridor around them. Rendered, manipulated, corrected. Lira's stomach twisted. So what does that mean? It means room 404 is the core's control chamber. She leaned in. It's the heart of the entire program. Destroy it. And every reset, every memory, every version, everything they use to control Ustas with it. Lira felt a surge of hope. And we live? She asked. The original's expression faltered. I don't know, she said quietly. No one's ever made it that far. Noah shook his head. Okay, let's not gloss over that. What happens if the system collapses while we're inside it? Possibilities vary, the original admitted. We might break out into reality, or the simulation could collapse around us, or, she tapped her temple, we exist because of the system. Without it, we disappear, Lira whispered. The thought hit her like ice. If she destroyed room 404, she might destroy herself. The original knelt in front of her, eyes burning with determination. Lira, look at me. Lira met her gaze. You're already not part of the system, the original said. You broke your identity file. You chose your own name. You're the only iteration with autonomy. You're saying Lira swallowed. Separate. Independent. The original corrected. That means you might survive the collapse. You might be the only one who can. Noah stepped forward. Then I'm going with her. Lira grabbed his sleeve. No, Noah. If this place is part digital, part real, and you weren't created in it. She looked at the flickering wall around them. If the system collapses, it might pull you with it. He didn't hesitate. I don't care. I'm not leaving you. The original's face softened, just for a heartbeat. You really like him, she murmured to Lira. Lira blushed, despite the terror. Now is literally the worst time. No, it's the perfect time, the original said. You're about to face the system that created you. Knowing someone chooses you willingly matters. Noah squeezed Lira's hand. And I choose you, he said quietly. Her chest tightened painfully like a new emotion she'd never been programmed to feel. But the moment shattered as the wall behind them tore open. Halden's voice bellowed through the rupture. Found you. Lira flinched. Noah grabbed her. The original stood between them and the glitch tear. Time's up, she said. So here's the plan. She pointed at the glowing neural grid behind her. This is a back door into the system. A route Halden can't fully block. She tapped a pulsing node. This node leads directly to room 404. Lira stared at it, heart pounding. So what do we do when we get there? The original spoke without hesitation. You destroy the central revision console. How? Lira asked. With this, the original reached into her torn uniform and pulled out something small and cylindrical. Dark metal, glowing faintly red. Lira blinked. What is that? A corruption spike, the original said. I stole it from a failed reboot chamber years ago. Noah frowned. A what? The original held it carefully, almost reverently. It's a virus, she said, a physical one. Plug it into the main console, and it will corrupt every memory archive, every reset file, every iteration fragment. Lira's breath caught. It'll destroy the system completely. The original nodded, including Halden. And including you, Lira whispered. The original didn't flinch. I made peace with that a long time ago. Halden's voice grew closer. This is futile. The floors flickered into static. The walls trembled. The ceiling cracked open like an egg. The original thrust the corruption spike into Lira's hands. These are our final moments. Use them well. Lira's heart pounded. No, she said shakily. I won't let you die again. The original smiled a soft, weary smile. You don't get to save me, Lira. That ship sank 6 versions ago. Halden's mechanical silhouette burst through the glitch tear. Light blazing from his core. Go, the original shouted. She shoved Lira and Noah toward the neural grid. Lira reached out. Wait, but Halden's blast hit the wall between them. The corridor exploded, and the last thing Lira saw was the original turning to face him, eyes burning with fire and defiance. Then, everything went white. Chapter 17, The Original's Last Stand. The moment the neural grid swallowed Lira and Noah, sealing them into the system pathway, the hallway exploded. The shockwave slammed into the original like a physical force, flinging her backward against the pixelated wall. Her shoulder cracked, but she stayed upright, spitting blood onto the glitching floor. Halden stepped through the shattered tier in reality, his humanoid shape flickering like a glitching hologram, half machine, half rendered code. No mercy. His voice dropped into a chilling monotone. Iteration 0. You persist beyond function, the original snarled, snapping her dislocated shoulder back into place with a sickening pop. Call me that again, she hissed, and I'll tear your processors out through your teeth. Halden's head tilted. You do not intimidate. Good, she spit back. I'm not trying to intimidate. I'm trying to kill you. The wall behind her shimmered, the neural grid closing, sealing Lira and Noah into the backdoor path. Halden registered it instantly. He surged forward. The original stepped into his path. You're not touching her. Iteration 17 is corrupted, Halden said, reaching out with a hand that crackled with white static. She poses a threat to system integrity. Damn right she does, the original said. That's the whole point. Halden's arms shot forward, faster than any human movement. The original dodged with reflexes sharpened by years of dying, resisting, hiding, and surviving. She grabbed a broken metal pipe from the exploding wall and swung it like a blade. Halden caught it effortlessly, crushed it between his fingers, let the pieces fall. She grabbed a second pipe, clang. Halden blocked, clang. He grabbed her wrist. His grip tightened to tight, crushing bone. The original screamed. Halden pulled her close, face inches from hers. This time, you will not return. She grit her teeth through the pain. Blood dripped from her fingers. Halden, she breathed. I know. He paused. She smiled, feral, unbroken. And I'm taking you with me. Then she snapped her free hand upward, straight into his face, and jammed something small and metal into the seam beneath his cheek plate. Halden recoiled instantly. Sparks shot from his jaw. His body glitched, freezing, flickering, rebooting. Error. The original wiped sweat from her brow with a shaking hand. Oh, you didn't think I kept one corruption spike, did you? Halden staggered. He scanned her in under a second. Unauthorized hardware detected. Hostile modification. Yup, she said. I shoved it right into your neural hinge. The floor beneath them pulsed red. Sparks rained from Halden's shoulders as his rendering destabilized. You infected me, he said, voice flattening into distortion. She grinned. Finally. You're catching on. Halden reached out again, this time with both hands brute force, ignoring the glitch rippling across his chest. He grabbed her throat and lifted her clean off the floor. Delete, Halden said. The original kicked wildly, fighting for air, vision blurring. Her feet dangled, her windpipe crushed under his grip. Her lungs burned. But she didn't panic. Instead, she locked eyes with him. I'm not afraid to die, Halden, she rasped. You taught me how. Halden squeezed harder. The original's vision sparked. The world dimmed, her pulse stuttered. Her voice came out in a whisper. You forgot something. Halden paused, head twitching. She smiled through the choking. Lira isn't me. Halden's grip loosened for a single confused millisecond. That was all she needed. The original twisted, snapping her neck sideways, slipping out of his grip just enough, and drove the last hidden shard of metal she'd pried from the wall straight into Halden's exposed circuitry. Halden convulsed. The entire corridor shook. Electricity surged through his body, tearing apart the human facade completely. His skin flickered off in long strips of glowing pixel dust, revealing the skeletal frame beneath shimmering machinery intertwined with artificial nerve light. He staggered, voice glitching uncontrollably. Error iteration 0 harmful corruptory. Not this time, she said, blood running down her arm. She shoved the metal deeper. Halden roared a mechanical scream that vibrated the entire buffer zone. Panels fell from the ceiling. The floor warped beneath their feet. Reality began to unravel. The original backed away, chest heaving, throat bruised and purple. Halden was collapsing, but not dying quickly, not dying neatly. He lunged, broken, sparking. She ducked. He slammed into the wall, leaving a crater of glitching pixels. She wheezed, wiping blood from her lips. I told you. I break everything I touch. Halden tried to stand, jerking, twitching, but his movements were no longer coordinated. Stopey, he stuttered, each syllable a corrupted scream. The original stepped toward him. No, she said softly. For once, you stop. She shoved him with the last of her strength. Halden toppled back into the instability point of the buffer zone. The glitch tier he'd created, his body dissolved into static. Light consumed him. One last scream, then silence. The tier sealed. Half the corridor crumbled into digital smoke. The original collapsed to her knees, gasping, clutching her throat. She had seconds, maybe minutes, before the infected system purged the space. The walls were already melting like wax. But she smiled, because Lira was gone, safe. On the path toward the core, the cycle had finally cracked. She pressed a bloodied hand against the glitching wall. "Go," she whispered. "Finish what I couldn't." And as the buffer zone collapsed around her, for the first time in all her iterations, the original felt something like peace. Chapter 18. Lira feels the original's death. The neural grid swallowed Lira and Noah whole. One moment they were in the shaking buffer corridor. The next, they were hurtling through a tunnel of light and shifting data, weightless and breathless, like falling through a broken hologram. Lira tried to reach for Noah, but their hands slipped apart as the current of raw information dragged them in different directions. "Noah," she screamed, but her voice dissolved into static. Colors twisted, images flashed. Memories that weren't hers slammed across her vision. A girl crying in a white room, hands strapped down, a metal mask lowering, a voice whispering, "You will forget." A scream that cut off too fast. "No, stop, stop." Lira clawed at her head, but she couldn't pull herself free. This wasn't just travel through the system. It was the system forcing itself into her. Her pulse pounded so hard she tasted blood. Then, a sound sliced through everything. A sound that wasn't mechanical, not digital, not coded. A scream. Raw, human, terrified. Lira froze. She knew that scream. It was the original. No dash, no dash, no dash. Haldened. White light swallowed the neural tunnel. Lira's heart seized. "Original," she whispered into the void. "Ilara, please answer." The scream sharpened into a single, agonizing note, then shattered. Something broke inside Lira, not physically. Something deeper. A thread connecting her to the original snapped, whipping back into her chest so hard it knocked the breath from her lungs. Her knees buckled. The neural stream tossed her violently, sending her crashing through a wave of corrupted pixels. A voice echoed, glitching and distant. "Iteration 0 deleted," Lira screamed. The neural grid flickered violently, responding to her panic. No, she can't be, she can't. But inside her mind, a quiet space where the merge had once tried to infiltrate, something went still, like a light going out, like a presence vanishing. Lira collapsed into nothingness, sobbing as the neural current tossed her deeper into the system. "No, please no." She saved me. She wasn't supposed to. The data stream surged around her, but she could barely breathe. A part of her, the part built from the original's fragments, felt hollow, cracked, missing. Noah's voice echoed distantly. Lira, where are you?" She couldn't answer. Her chest constricted, as if a fist squeezed her heart. Her vision blurred, and through the blurred light, for a fraction of a second, she saw the original, not alive, not speaking, but standing in the collapsing buffer corridor, facing Halden, eyes fierce until the last moment. The image flickered, then vanished permanently. Lira sobbed harder. "Please." But the system didn't respond. Instead, it reacted. The neural grid pulsed with red light. A cold voice boomed across the data stream. "Unstable subject detected. Identity Lira rejected. Force reintegration required." Lira's blood ran cold. No, don't. The stream around her changed direction violently. Pixels sharpened into hands, thousands of them, clawing at her limbs, her face, her mind, trying to pull her back into the identity she rejected, trying to make her Ilara Kim again, trying to overwrite Lira. Her breath ripped out of her chest in a gasp. No, let go of me." The system didn't listen. It began to pull her apart. Data surged into her skull, memory files forcing themselves back in, the same voice repeating over and over. "You are Ilara Kim. You are iteration 17. Revert. Lira screamed into the void. And somewhere far ahead, Noah screamed her name back. "Lira, hold on. I'm coming." The neural grid tore open, and the world changed. When the world reforms, Lira is no longer alone. She slammed into a cold metal floor. Her head throbbed. Her vision was ruined by static. Her body was limp, barely responsive. But she heard footsteps. Human footsteps, not Halden's, not mechanical. Noah dropped to his knees beside her. He cupped her face with trembling hands. Lira, Lira. She forced her eyes open. Noah. Her voice was a broken whisper. She's gone. He pulled her into a shaking embrace. I know, he said against her hair. I know. She clutched the front of his jacket with trembling fingers. Her grief was a tidal wave. The original wasn't Data. She wasn't a ghost. She was a person. And she died saving Lira. Noah held her tighter. Lira, we'll make her death mean something. As he helped her sit up, her vision cleared just enough to see it. The door in front of them? White. Cold. Familiar. Numbered in blood-red paint. Lira wiped her tears. Her voice trembled, but her resolve was steel. Noah, she whispered. We're here. Noah nodded. Let's finish this. Chapter 19. Entering room 404. The door loomed in front of them. White, sterile, numbered 404 in a shade of red that looked far too much like dried blood. It radiated cold. Lira felt it before she even touched it. A numb, metallic cold that seeped into her bones. A reminder of every nightmare she'd half remembered. Every fragment of a scream she'd inherited from the others. This was it. The place the original died fighting against. The place every version before her had been dragged into. Room 404. Noah's hand hovered near hers. Lira, we don't have to go in yet. She swallowed hard. No, we do. Her voice surprised her. Not because it was strong, but because it wasn't shaking. Not anymore. She placed her palm on the cold metal surface. Immediately, the door reacted. KRRRRSHHH. Glitches ran across its panels. White light bled from the seams like overexposed film. Something inside unlocked with a groaning mechanical click, like a machine waking from decades of sleep. Noah tensed beside her. Whatever happens, I'm with you. Lira nodded. Then the door slid open. Inside the heart. Room 404 was bigger than she expected. Not a room, a chamber. Massive. Circular. Its walls made of screens that displayed shifting lines of code. Faces of the iterations, blueprints of human memories. Brainwave maps and pulsing data streams. Lira's breath caught. Hundreds of versions of her flickered across the displays. Laughing, crying, screaming, resisting, complying, dying. She stepped forward with shaking legs. There were so many of us, she whispered. Noah put a hand on her back. Too many. The center of the room held the core, the device that controlled everything. A towering console of glass and metal shaped almost like a spine. Bones of machinery encased in light. Wires like veins connected to the floor, feeding into the chamber, pulsing with faint blue light. And beneath the core, a chair. Not a normal chair. The chair, white, strapped, cold. Lira's breath hitched. Her stomach twisted. She'd seen it in photos. She'd seen it in the memories forced into her. She'd seen other versions strapped into it. But seeing it in person, seeing its size, its weight, its purpose, she felt sick. Her knees nearly gave out. Lira, Noah said softly, catching her elbow. You don't have to sit in it. I know, she whispered. But she could feel the system calling her, pulling her, trying to overwrite her name, her identity, her autonomy. Ilara Kim. Iteration 17. Report for revision. A cold voice whispered from the walls. Lira jolted. Noah cursed. It's talking to you. The screens glitched. The first the second, the 9th, the 13th, the 16th. All of them turning toward Lira, watching her, evaluating her. The system spoke again, louder. Subject unstable. Identity mismatch. Reintegration recommended. Lira clenched her fists. I'm not Eli. The room flickered like it had been slapped. Noah glanced at her nervously. The system didn't like that. Good, she said. The lights above them sputtered. ERROR. Error. Identity not found. Override required. And then, a figure flickered on one of the screens. A glitching silhouette. Not Halden, but something worse. Lyra's breath caught. It was her face. But wrong. Too smooth. Too still. Too clean. A template. A baseline version of a Lara Kim. The default version. The first designed face. Base human model Lara 1.0. The screen labeled it. Lyra stepped back. That's what I was supposed to be, she whispered. A template. A starting point. Noah looked horrified. Lyra, that's not you. I know. But there was more. Other screens flickered on. Concept sketches. Notes. Files. Audio logs. Iteration 4. Stable but fearful. Increase resilience. Iteration 9. Too rebellious. Memory scrub incomplete. Iteration 14. Removed after mental collapse. Iteration 16. Nearly escaped. Terminated. Iteration 17. Promising. Until deviation occurred. Lyra trembled. Her voice cracked. I wasn't a person to them. I was a test. Noah touched her cheek gently. You're a person to me. Something warm, fragile, and painful fluttered in her chest. But the room wouldn't let her feel it for long. The core lit up, pulsing brighter and brighter. A siren blared, mechanical, then footsteps, slow, dragging, metallic. Lyra's heart stopped. No, she whispered. Noah stepped in front of her instinctively. Don't tell me. Halden. The voice echoed from the floor, the ceiling, the walls. Repair sequence initialized. Reconstructing admin unit. Lyra's blood ran cold. Halden wasn't dead. He was being rebuilt, piece by piece. His voice echoed. Iteration 17. Return to me. The core pulsed again. Bright, electric. The screens flashed red. Rebuilding. Noah grabbed her shoulders. Lyra, we have to move now. But Lyra didn't step back. She stepped forward. Toward the core. Toward the chair. Toward the identity she was never meant to claim. Her voice was quiet, trembling, but sharp as a blade. Noah. He turned to her desperately. She stared at the core. I know what we have to do. What? We destroy this place. She held up the corruption spike the original had given her, just like she wanted. Noah's eyes widened. Lyra, that might kill you. She swallowed hard. It might kill everyone. But if we don't, Halden wins. The resets continue. The cycle never ends. She looked at the chair, the straps, the wires, the ghosts of 1,000 memories. I have to end it. The screens flickered violently as Halden's reconstruction reached the final stage. Admin unit online. Halden reinitiated. Noah grabbed her wrist, voice cracking. Lyra, please don't sacrifice yourself. She touched his cheek gently. I won't. But I'll never be safe while this place exists. A heavy, metallic slam echoed behind them. Halden's reconstructed frame stepped from the wall. Smiling, iteration shirts he raised a hand pulsing with white energy. Welcome home, Sing Sing. Lyra tightened her grip on the spike and stepped toward the core. I'm not home, she said softly. I'm here to burn it down. Chapter 20 Final Showdown. Lyra vs. Halden. Halden stepped fully into the chamber. What remained of his humanoid form was a glitching shell, skin flickering off in strips, fallen pieces crumbling into data dust as new ones reformed. His eyes blazed with cold blue-white light, the color of a screen on the verge of crashing. He wasn't human. He wasn't even pretending to be. Iteration 17, Halden said. You should not exist. Noah pulled Lyra back, putting himself between them. You don't get to decide that. Halden didn't even blink. Incorrect. That is my primary function. White energy swirled inside. Halden's palm, the same lethal charge he'd used on the original. Lyra felt her pulse spike. Not again. Not to Noah. Not to anyone she cared about. Noah, Lyra whispered. Don't stand in front of me. Too late, Noah muttered. I'd rather die than watch you get erased. Halden tilted his head, analyzing him. Noah Harper. Unregistered, organic, non-essential, expendable. Lira's blood ran cold. Halden fired. A beam of white-hot light tore through the air like a lance. Noah shoved Lira aside, but the blast hit him in the shoulder. The impact hurled him across the floor. Noah. Lira scrambled toward him, panic tightening her throat. He groaned, clutching his arm. The skin was burned, blistering, but he was alive, barely. Halden approached each step, sending a tremor through the chamber. Your resistance is inefficient, Lira. Lira stood. Her hands trembled, her heart pounded. But she stood, because fear wasn't the same thing as obedience. Stop calling me that, she said. I'm not a Lara. I'm not an iteration. I'm not a file. Halden's eyes glitched. Identity error. Good, Lira said. Keep glitching. The corruption spike glowed faintly in her hand. Halden noticed it. Returned the illegal device. Lira tightened her grip. Come take it. The lights overhead exploded, the chamber plunging into strobing white and static. Halden lunged, and Lira moved. Lira fights back. She dodged sideways as Halden's arm cleaved downward, leaving a crack in the metal floor. Sparks burst from the impact. Halden turned instantly, impossibly fast. You cannot win. No, she said, breathless. But I can make you lose. She sprinted toward the core. Halden blurred, intercepting her in 2 strides. But Lira had learned one thing from the original. Halden wasn't infallible. He was predictable. She ducked under his grasp, slid across the floor, and rammed her shoulder into his knee joint. For a second, just a second, Halden faltered. His leg glitched. Lira jumped to her feet and ran. The core pulsed before her like a living organism, blue veins of light running through its spine-like structure. It was right there, just a few steps. Halden grabbed the back of her jacket and hoisted her into the air. Her feet dangled, her lungs seized. The corruption spike slipped from her fingers. No. Halden lifted her higher. I will rebuild you, he said calmly. From scratch? His hands tightened around her throat. Noah shouted, hoarse and desperate. Lira. Lira clawed at Halden's fingers, kicking wildly. Not happening, she gasped. Revert. No, revert, I said. Her nails scraped metal. Her vision went white. The system roared in her ears. Reintegration. Lira felt something inside her. Something deep, ancient, encoded, start to unravel. She was slipping back toward Lara Kim. Her name, her memories, her identity, all being overwritten. No, no. She forced the word out through a crushed throat. Lira. The chamber flickered. The screens glittered. Halden froze. Identity collision detected. Lira sucked in a ragged breath and screamed through the distortion. My name is Lira. The system convulsed. Lights shattered. The floor buckled. Halden staggered, grip loosening. Lira rammed both knees upward into the center of his chest panel. CRRACK. Halden reeled backward. Lira dropped to the floor, gasping, throat burning. The corruption spike lay inches away. She reached for it. A metal foot slammed down on her hand. She screamed. Halden leaned over her. Iteration 17. Your deviation ends now. He raised his arm, charged another white blast. Lira couldn't move. Her hand was pinned, her body too weak, her mind flickering from the forced reintegration attempt. No, she whispered. Not like this. Not after everything. Her eyes blurred. She saw Noah in the corner, struggling to stand, arm hanging limp. She saw all the versions of her on the screens watching. And then, a sound, a tiny hum. The corruption spike inched forward across the floor. No one touched it. No wind, no movement. Just help. From the system? No. From the remnants? From the fragments of the original's consciousness, still embedded in the grid, still protecting Lira, even after death. Lira's breath hitched. Thank you, she whispered. Halden charged the blast. Lira seized the spike, ignoring the pain, rolled under his arm, and drove the corruption spike straight into the glowing seam in his side. He didn't finish. The chamber detonated in a burst of white-blue energy. Halden convulsed violently, light pouring from every crack in his form, his body glitching into a dozen fractured frames, like a corrupted video file. Error. Error. System, fail. Lira screamed through the sound and light as the energy blasted her backward. Noah tackled her, shielding her with his body as debris rained down, and Halden collapsed, his body fragmented into pixels, his voice dissolved into static. His form broke apart like dust, and the administrator of room 404 died with a silent, final flicker. Silence. Smoke. Sparks. Noah coughed, rolling off her. Lira, you okay? She sat up slowly, shaking, bruised, but alive. Her voice cracked. I think so. The core pulsed weakly, just one surge of light, then dimmed. The system was wounded. Halden was gone. And Lira, she was still here. Still Lira. For the first time in any cycle, she had one. But the chamber wasn't stable. Wires sparked. Floor panels buckled. Screens flickered between code and blackness. Noah stood, pulling her up. We have to finish this, he said. Lira nodded weakly. She turned to the core. The spine of the system. The heart of room 44. The machine that controlled her existence. Her fingers tightened around the corruption spike. It ends here. She stepped toward the heart. Chapter 21. Plugging the spike into the core. The chamber flickered like a dying sun. Walls glitched in and out. Floor panels cracked. Screens displaying generations of Ilaras sputtered and dimmed, collapsing into lines of corrupted code. The system was failing, but it wasn't dead. Not yet. The towering core at the center of the room pulsed with weak, rhythmic light, like a massive, artificial heart struggling to keep beating. Lira stepped toward it, slowly, painfully, every nerve in her body still buzzing with the aftershock of Halden's destruction. The corruption spike was warm in her hand, glowing faint red, almost eager. Noah followed close behind her, limping but determined. You don't have to do this alone, he said gently. She looked over her shoulder at him. A tear slid down her cheek. I know. But her voice was firm. This is my fight. Noah swallowed hard but nodded. Lira turned back to the core. The closer she came, the louder it hummed, a deep vibration that resonated in her chest like a warning or a threat. She reached the main console. It was taller than her, the surface gleaming with light behind cracked glass. Symbols flickered across it. Memory files. Iteration logs, neural patterns, biometric traces. The entire Academy's history lived here, and she was about to kill it. Lira raised the spike. Noah, she whispered. If this goes wrong, run. He didn't answer, just squeezed her other hand. Her throat tightened. Okay, she whispered to herself. Okay, do it. She lifted the spike, and something inside the core spoke. Her breath caught. No, she whispered, not again. The core pulsed. A second voice joined the first. Ilara Kim. Noah tensed. Talking. The walls lit up with looping memories. Hers, but also not hers. Childhood moments, she remembered. A birthday, a bike, a mother's laugh, but blurred, flattened, fabricated. Nothing real. 1,000 ghost versions of Ilara Kim played across the screens. A voice echoed from everywhere. You were created here. Lira squeezed the spike tighter. Exactly why I have to end it. The core buzzed louder, desperate. Ilara Kim, do not erase yourself. Lira froze. Her heart pounded. The system continued. You are not Lira. That is an error. No, she whispered shakily. Lira is the first thing I ever chose. Lira is not valid. You are Ilara Kim. Revert. The lights blazed. Her memories, fabricated ones, flashed faster and faster. Her mother, her bedroom, her first day of school, her friends, all fake. But the system pumped them into her like an unwanted IV drip. Noah grabbed her shoulders. Lira, look at me, she gasped, pupils dilating. The system kept speaking. You will cease if you continue. Lira Kim will be restored. Lira will be deleted. Noah cupped her face. Lira, listen. You're real. You're real to me. That's enough. Her vision blurred with tears. The core thundered. Stop. Do not erase yourself. Lira stared at the spike in her hand, and then she said the words that sealed everything. I wasn't born here. The system spasmed. ERROR. I wasn't created to be reset. ERROR. I am not Lira Kim. Critical error. I am Lira. The chamber exploded with red light. The system screamed. Identity collision. Invalid subject. Illegal existence. Lira screamed back. Good. And she plunged the corruption spike into the heart of the core. The system fights back. The world convulsed. A violent shockwave blasted outward from the console. The room bent inward, walls warping like melting plastic. Screens shattered one by one. The core shrieked in a digital howl so sharp Noah covered his ears. Lines of corrupted code burst across the walls. System breach. Unstable. Purge initiated. The spike glowed white-hot. Lira clung to it, refusing to let go. The system screamed. Stop. Undo. Lira Kim, do not erase yourself. No, she whispered through gritted teeth. I'm not erasing myself. She pushed the spike deeper. I'm erasing you. The core cracked. Light spilled from the seams. Noah grabbed her arm. Lira, the room's collapsing. We have to go. But she stayed fixed on the console. No, not until it's completely dead. The room shook so violently, Noah lost his footing. The floor fell away in pieces. Doorways blinked in and out of existence. A massive, distorted figure formed in the wall, something half machine, half human, glitching like a corrupted render. In his dying electronic ghost, you cannot destroy your maker. Lira glared at him through tears. I just did. She ripped the spike sideways, and the core ruptured in a blinding blast of red-white light. Halden's ghost ripped apart like torn film. The screens exploded into shards of code, and every version of Lira Kim, looping endlessly on the walls, vanished instantly. Gone. Noah dragged Lira backward as the entire chamber began to collapse. Lira, let's go. She stumbled into him, lungs burning, vision fractured. But in her heart, one thing was unmistakably clear. She had killed room 404, and in doing so, she finally set herself free. Chapter 2. To waking in the real world. Light, soft, warm, not artificial, not flickering, not glitching, real. Lira felt it before she opened her eyes. The air tasted different, less sterile, more alive. Her chest rose and fell without that faint, mechanical hum she'd grown used to without realizing it. Her body felt heavy but grounded, not floating in rendered space. She blinked. The world came into focus slowly. A ceiling off-white plaster, cracked near the corner, not smooth, not symmetrical, not perfect, real. Her breath hitched. She turned her head. She was lying on a bed covered in rough hospital sheets. A nearby window let in muted sunlight, filtered through thin curtains. Outside, she heard birds, a car passing, wind brushing against trees. Normal sounds. To normal, her heart hammered. She tried to sit up. A sharp pain shot through her ribs. She winced. Someone stirred beside the bed. No, Haler slowed down. Her head snapped toward the voice. Noah. He sat slumped in a chair, a blanket half on his lap. Looking exhausted and bruised but alive. Truly alive. Her throat tightened. He stood quickly and slipped a hand behind her back to help her sit up. Yeah, I'm here. You're okay. Real warmth. Real touch, not simulated. Where are we? Lira whispered. Noah exhaled shakily. A hospital, I think. She blinked at him. You think? Noah dragged a hand through his hair. He was shaking. Lira, the last 30 hours have been insane. They found us unconscious in the woods. No school, no staff, no building, nothing. Just you and me collapsed in the dirt. Her heartbeat faltered. In the woods. He nodded. You were out for almost a full day. Lira stared at him, trying to process. So, Ashwell Academy. It wasn't there, Noah said quietly. Not a single building. Just forest. No trace of a school. Her stomach twisted. She looked around the hospital room again. Gray walls, chipped paint, a faint scent of disinfectant, and cheap coffee. Everything was imperfect. Everything was uneven. Everything was real. And yet, something wasn't right. Her fingers gripped the blanket. Noah, there's no way we could just wake up in the woods. The academy was physical. Parts of it were physical. He swallowed. I know. Then he pulled something from the small table near her bed, a folded piece of paper. I found this beside you. He unfolded it and handed it to her. Lyra's breath stopped. It was a photo. A real photo, slightly crinkled, printed on cheap, glossy paper, of her, as Ilara Kim, standing in front of Ashwell Academy's gates, smiling, happy, except across the photo, someone had written in black marker, "Wake up, E." Her chest clenched. "E," she whispered. "The original," Noah nodded. "She left us that. Somehow." Lira stared at the handwriting. It shook. This wasn't a glitch. Not a projection. Not a file. Ink, paper. Reality? You think she survived? Lira whispered. Noah hesitated. I don't know. But this photo isn't from the system. It's printed. On real paper. Someone had to leave it. She tried to breathe. It came out ragged. Everything feels too real, she whispered. Too physical. Too heavy. What if this isn't real? What if the system put us in another simulation? Noah crouched beside the bed, taking both her hands. Lira, listen to me. She looked at him. His eyes were soft, warm, human. If this were a simulation, he said quietly, they wouldn't give you bruises. He gently touched the side of her neck where Halden had tried to choke her. Lira flinched. It hurts. Exactly, Noah said. In the system, you didn't feel pain like this. Not human pain. Her chest tightened with conflicting relief and dread. If this is real, she said softly, then everything else was. Constructed, Noah finished. Controlled. She stared at her shaking hands. For the first time, she felt the weight of her own body, the ache in her muscles, the raw tightness in her throat. Pain. Human pain. She'd never felt so alive. Or so terrified. Noah squeezed her hand. We're out, Lira. Whatever the academy was, it's gone. She swallowed hard. What if they come back? She whispered. Noah's grip tightened. They won't. Halden's gone. Lira closed her eyes. The original's face flashed in her mind, her voice, her sacrifice. Tears spilled down Lyra's cheeks. I wish she could see this, she whispered. I wish she could feel what this feels like. Noah pressed his forehead gently to hers. She'd be proud of you. Lira trembled. I don't know how to be a person, she whispered. Not in the real world. You don't have to know, Noah said softly. We'll figure it out together. She let herself lean into him. For a moment, for a breath, for the first time in her existence, she was free. And then, the overhead light flickered. Once, twice. Lira stiffened. Noah froze. Lira, he whispered. She didn't answer, because her hospital monitor flashed with a tiny error message in sterile blue text that made her blood go cold. System restore. Lyra's breath shattered. No, she whispered. No, no, no. The lights flickered again, harder, longer. A low mechanical hum vibrated through the room. Familiar, impossible, terrifying. Noah grabbed her hand. Lira, run. But it was too late. The speaker in the corner crackled. A voice, cold, broken, glitching, whispered through it. Iteration. Lira, the cycle is not finished. Lyra's blood froze. Room 404 wasn't dead. It had followed them. Chapter 23. Someone else is awake. The hospital speaker crackled with static. The lights flickered again long enough that the room went gray, then a sickly blue, then back to fluorescent white. Lyra's heart pounded painfully. Noah, she whispered. The system, how can it be here? Noah grabbed her wrist. Lira, we have to move now. She swung her legs over the bed, ignoring the throbbing in her ribs and throat. But as she stood, something in the hallway made her freeze. A sound, not mechanical, not digital. A scream, a raw human scream, high-pitched. Lira turned toward the door. Noah, someone's here. Everyone's here, he said urgently. It's a hospital. No, she whispered. That wasn't a patient scream, he stiffened, because they both recognized it. It wasn't pain. It was recognition, fear, memory. It was the kind of scream she had made in the White Room, the kind of scream and iteration made before a reset. Lira moved toward the door. No, Lira, wait. She opened it. The hallway was dim, the lights flickering in sickening pulses. Nurses hurried past, unaware or pretending to be unaware of the flickers in the walls, the distortion at the edges of the corridor. The scream came again, muffled, farther down. From room 212, Lira walked, almost in a trance. Lira, Noah grabbed her hand, following anyway. You can't go toward screaming. That's horror movie logic. You didn't hear the voice, Lira said quietly. It sounded like me. Noah's grip tightened. You're not going alone. They reached the door. Room 212. The number flickered for a moment. Lira jerked back. No, she whispered. That's not real. That's not real. But Noah's face had gone pale. He reached out and pushed the door open. It swung inward with a slow, eerie creak. The room was dark. A heart monitor beeped steadily. The curtains were pulled shut. A figure lay in the bed, small, still hooked to 4 lines. Lira approached slowly, dread sinking into her bones. The figure's hair was black, her skin pale, her hands resting above the sheets. Thin, frail, unmoving. Lira's heartbeat shot up. No, no, no. The girl in the bed turned her head. Her eyes opened, and Lira felt everything inside her collapse, because she was staring into her own face. Not the original, not a corrupted version, not the template. A living iteration, one that hadn't escaped, one that was still connected. The girl's lips parted, her voice barely a whisper. Iteration. 17. Lira stumbled backward. Noah caught her before she fell. The girl sat up, trembling violently. Her pupils dilated and compressed erratically. Her voice glitched as she tried to speak. You got out. But they didn't finish me. Her voice broke. They left me here, in the real world, but not whole. Lira felt icy dread creep up her spine. How long have you been here? Lira whispered. The girl blinked, her expression lost, childlike. She frowned, confused. I don't know how to count days. Lira pressed a trembling hand to her mouth. She was broken, left behind, half-formed, but alive. Noah whispered, horrified. Lira, is she another you? Lira nodded slowly. She must be. Iteration Schitzheder. The girl flinched at the number. No, she whispered. I tried to be Ilara, but then I woke up here, and the system wasn't here, and I don't feel right without it. She clutched her head suddenly, whimpering. Lira reached for her. It's okay. No. The girl's head shot up. Her eyes not human for a split second, glitching with blue static, just like Halden's. Noah grabbed Lira's arm. Lear back up. The girl slammed a hand over her ears, screaming again. They're still talking to me. Make them stop. Lira's blood ran cold. Who's talking to you? The girl looked at her, and this time it wasn't fear in her eyes. It was knowledge. Terrible, impossible knowledge, she whispered. The system. No, Lira breathed. The core is destroyed. The girl shook her head violently. It wasn't the only core. The lights overhead exploded. The hospital floor rippled. The heart monitor beside the bed flashed an error message. Restore point found. Downloading original backup. Noah cursed. Lorette's place isn't safe. But Lira couldn't move. Her heart thundered painfully. There's another core, she whispered. Yes, the girl said, tears streaming down her glitching face. The one you destroyed. It wasn't primary. It was only a node. Lyra's stomach dropped. No, no. She had destroyed the wrong heart. No, Lira whispered. You're wrong. You have to be wrong. But the girl shook her head again. They woke me up because they're rebooting. She clutched her chest. I feel it. I feel them. She looked at Lira with heartbreaking pleading. You have to stop them. Before they come for me, before they come for you. Lira staggered backward. Her lungs felt too small. Noah grabbed her hand. Lira, look at me. She did. Barely. We're not done, she whispered. Everything we did, it wasn't enough. Noah swallowed. Then we go again. The hospital lights flickered violently. The girl screamed once more. Then the speaker crackled. A cold new voice whispered through the static. Primary system online. Lira froze. Noah's grip tightened. The speaker hissed. Then the voice came again, louder. Iteration. Report to room 000. Her blood ran cold. Room 000. The original source, the real core. The girl in the bed stared at Lira, tears falling. They want you back. Lira shook as reality seemed to tilt. No, she whispered. Not this time. But deep inside her, in the place where the memory of the original once lived, something else whispered back. It's only just beginning. Chapter 24. Escaping the hospital. For one heartbeat, everything was still. Then the lights exploded, not flickered. Exploded. Glass rained down in glittering shards. Nurses and patients screamed. Alarms shrieked. The floor trembled like something massive moved underneath it. The hospital didn't just glitch, it convulsed. Noah grabbed Lyra's arm. Go. But Lyra's gaze was still locked on the girl in the bed. Iteration 17.1. Trembling, eyes glitching blue. I can't leave her, Lira whispered. The girl clutched her head, rocking forward. Don't touch Manu Korconnectin. Lira reached for her, but the hospital speaker cut through. The chaos with a voice that nearly stopped her heart. A voice not broken, not glitching, clean, cold, new. Iteration, Lira. You are out of bounds. Return to room 000. No. No, no, no. It wasn't Halden. It wasn't the old admin voice. This was something new, something worse. Noah yanked Lira back just as the bed jerked violently, sliding across the floor on its own, like pulled by an invisible hand. The girl screamed, They're taking me, help. Before Lira could move, Noah grabbed her face, forcing her to look into his eyes. Lira, listen. We can't save her right now, but she's me. Lira choked. I can't just watch her be dragged into. She's connected to the new core, Noah said fiercely. If you touch her now, it can use her as a bridge to grab you too. Lira froze. He was right. If she touched that bed, if she touched a version still linked, the new core could pull her right back into the system. She'd be done. Noah didn't wait for her to decide. He grabbed her hand and ran. The hallway was chaos, patients screaming, doctors shouting, but none of them seemed to notice the glitching walls, the pixelated edges, the hospital floor warping like heat mirage. Only Lira and Noah saw it, saw the truth. Noah there. Lira pointed to the glowing distortion spreading across the linoleum like spilled electricity. A nurse stepped into it. Her body froze. Her image flickered. Then she disappeared. Gone. Not dead. Extracted. Lira gasped. It's pulling people into the system. Noah pulled her down another hall. Then we don't let it pull us. But the new system wasn't stupid. As Lira and Noah ran, wall lights flickered into arrows. Digital arrows, pointing at her. Iteration Lira. Stop running. The arrow behind them blinked, then shot down the hall like a streak of light. Lira and Noah sprinted harder, weaving through panicked staff and glitching walls. They didn't know where they were going, anywhere but here. Units of reality blinked out behind them, rooms dissolving into darkness, doors flattening into white planes, ceilings dripping with code. The entire hospital was becoming a transition zone, a new buffer corridor, meant for her. Noah looked back and swore. Lira, run faster. But she was slowing down. Her leg burned, her throat screamed. Her ribs ached with every breath. She wasn't superhuman, not anymore, not in the real world. They burst into the stairwell. Noah slammed the door shut behind them, pressing his whole body against it. Hold it, Lira. Go. She stumbled down the stairs. Halfway, the light above her flickered. Then something whispered right into her ear. Don't run from me. Lira screamed and slipped on the step. Noah caught her by the waist just before she cracked her head on the metal railing. He pulled her upright, eyes wild. You okay? No, this whole place is falling apart. A surge of static crawled down the stairwell walls like digital spiders. The overhead speaker hissed. Room 000 is ready. Noah cursed. Not happening. They reached the bottom floor, but the exit doors were gone, not just locked. Gone. Replaced by a white wall, with a red number painted across it. Lira staggered back. No. That's not real. That's not real. She slammed her hand against the wall. It rippled like water. A portal. A direct path into the new core. The world flickered again. Something big was coming. The air vibrated. The lights hummed. Noah grabbed Lira's shoulders, panic breaking through his voice. Lira, we need another way out. And then, the elevator dinged. They both turned, slowly. The elevator doors slid open. Smoke poured out. And in the smoke, a silhouette, not Halden, different. Taller, more stable, sharper, flowing with white data light like living circuitry. A new administrator, a new version. A voice seeped into the stairwell with silk-smooth command. Lira, come with me. Noah shoved Lira behind him. Not happening. You'll have to go through me. The administrator stepped out of the elevator, and the stairwell warped around them. That can be arranged. Lira squeezed Noah's arm. No, it doesn't want you. She swallowed hard. It wants me. He gripped her hand tighter. Then we leave. Together. But the admin's aura pulsed, and the white wall marked 000 began to glow brighter. A gravitational pull tugged at Lira's chest. Hard. Too hard, she gasped. Noah, it's pulling me. He held on. Let it pull me too. Her voice cracked. Noah, stop. If you go in there, you'll die. He didn't loosen his grip. Then I die holding your hand. The admin exhaled a quiet digital hum. Reintegration is mandatory. Lira screamed. No, let me go, let me. The pull worsened. Noah's skin tore where her hand gripped his. He held on anyway. Reality distorted, triangular pixels sucking toward the wall. The air warping, the administrator stepping forward with cold grace. Everything inverted. And then, a hand grabbed Lira's shoulder from behind and yanked her violently backward. She crashed into the floor. Noah fell on top of her. They blinked up, stunned. At the figure standing above them, a silhouette in the emergency exit light. Not a nurse, not a doctor, not an admin, a girl. Older, taller, breathing hard like she'd run for miles, with familiar dark hair, familiar eyes, a faint scar on her cheek. Lira's breath caught in her throat. No way. The figure looked down at her with a tired, ragged smile. I told you, she rasped. I don't die easy. Lira choked on her breath. Original. The original nodded once. Let's get you out of here before the new admin realizes. I stole its root access. She pulled Lira and Noah to their feet. The admin in the elevator stiffened. Iteration 0. Impossible. The original smirked. Surprise. She raised her hand. The wall marked 000 shattered, and the three of them ran into the smoke-filled hallway as the building screamed behind them. Chapter 25. The Truth of the Original and the Real Core. The hospital hallway warped behind them. Original pulled Lira and Noah deeper into the smoke-filled corridor. Doors flickered. Tile floors rippled like disturbed water. The administrator's shadow moved through the haze behind them, tracking, calculating. Keep moving, the original rasped. If it catches us in this building, it'll drag all three of us straight into room 000. Lira stumbled as they rounded a corner. You keep saying that like it's different from 404. It is, the original snapped, then softened when she saw Lira flinch. Room 44 was an editing node, a tool that rewrote us. She stopped at a stairwell door and shoved it open with her shoulder. Room 000 is the source. Lira's blood ran cold. The source of what? The original turned her head just enough for Lira to see the grimness in her eyes. Everything. Descending into the real world. They tumbled into the stairwell, the door slamming behind them. The walls here weren't glitching yet, but the lights flickered with an unnatural pulse that made Noah swear under his breath. Okay, Noah gasped, catching his weight against the railing. Someone explain now. How are you alive? What is room 000? And why is the hospital melting? The original breathed hard, pressing a hand to her ribs. She was hurt badly, but still moving with pure, stubborn fury. I survived because the core didn't delete me. It tried to reabsorb me. It failed. How? Lira pressed. How do you survive something like that? The original looked up at her. Because I glitched. Exactly the right way, Lira blinked. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have, the original said. Halden overloaded the buffer node, room 404, but instead of recycling me, it corrupted my file. I became unreadable, untraceable. She tapped her temple, and something unreadable slips through the cracks. At the parking garage door, Noah shoved the final stairwell door open, revealing the dim, echoing structure of the hospital's underground parking garage. Car alarms blared randomly, shadows flickered in impossible directions. A section of the wall pixelated, then solidified again. Lira stared, horrified. It's spreading, she whispered. Because room 000 is awake, the original said. It's sucking data from anything electronic to rebuild and expand, Noah muttered, like a virus. Exactly like a virus, because that's what the primary core is. A self-replicating identity algorithm designed to overwrite weak minds. Lira grabbed her arm. Overwriting minds, for what purpose? The original hesitated. Then, to replace them. Lira's stomach dropped. Noah stared. Replace them with who? The original looked directly at Lira. With you, the truth behind Lira's creation? Lira stumbled back. No, that's wrong. I wasn't made to replace people. I was a test subject, a memory rewrite project. The original shook her head slowly. Room 400 for rewrote memories. But room uno didn't create you to be rewritten. She stepped closer. Room 000 created you to be installed. Lira's breath caught. Installed like software. I'm not meant to replace someone. The original grabbed her shoulders. You were designed as an adaptive identity, a perfect mirror. You don't just overwrite memories. Her voice dropped to a chilling whisper. You overwrite people. Lira felt her pulse hammer in her throat. No, I refuse that. You're refusing it, the original said, because you're the only version that wasn't completed. Noah stepped between them, protective. Lira isn't replacing anyone. She's a person. Yes, because she escaped before room 000 finished its installation. She pointed at the glitching walls. But now that it's awake again, it wants to finish what it started. Lira staggered. Her ears rang. I wasn't meant to be a girl, she whispered, or a student, or a memory test. No, the original said softly. You were meant to be an identity replacement system. Lira's legs nearly gave out. She clutched Noah's arm. I don't want that, she whispered. I don't want to erase anyone. You won't, Noah said fiercely. The original nodded. Not if you destroy the real core. Lira's eyes widened. You mean, room, lean. The original exhaled shakily. Yes, but where is it? The original swallowed. Not in the academy. Not in the simulation layer at all. She pointed straight upward. Here, in the real world. Under the hospital, Lira's blood ran cold. This whole time, room 404 was the child system, and room 000, the original said, is the parent. Noah looked between them. So what's the plan? The original straightened, grim and resolute. We find the access tunnel beneath this garage. She pointed at a far wall, flickering slightly. And we go inside. Lira stared at her. At room 000, yes. And then what? The original met Lira's eyes, unblinking. Then you kill the system that created you. The administrator returns. But before Lira could answer, before she could breathe, the overhead lights in the garage snapped off. All at once, darkness swallowed them. Then, a white glow appeared behind them, a silhouette. The new administrator, taller, sharper, radiating white circuitry. Its voice was soft, cold, certain. Iteration Lira. It is time to become who you were made to be. The original stepped forward. No, she snarled. She's becoming who she chooses to be. The admin raised an arm. Light gathered. Noah grabbed Lira. The original shouted, "Move," and the blast fired. As the parking garage erupted into white light, Lira made her decision. Chapter 2:6. The blast hit the floor beside them, exploding concrete into shrapnel and dust. Lira coughed as Noah dragged her behind a half-collapsed SUV. Administrators. White glow cut through the dark, like a living spotlight, scanning for them with calm inevitability. The original grabbed Lira's wrist. "This is it," she rasped. "We go now." They sprinted across the garage, weaving between abandoned cars. The air was thick with electricity and dust. Every few seconds, the admin fired a beam that scorched metal and concrete. The original skidded to a stop at a section of wall flickering. Between solid concrete and a pulsing white door, she slammed her palm against it. The world warped. The concrete melted. A doorway appeared marked in soft, glowing white. Lira's heart dropped into her stomach. Noah whispered, voice hoarse, "That's the source." The original nodded. "The real core. The brain behind everything." The admin's voice echoed behind them. "Lira, return to me." The original shoved Lira through the door. Noah followed, grabbing her hand. The door sealed behind them like a heartbeat slamming shut. Inside the origin chamber, silence. No flickering lights. No glitching walls. The chamber was perfect. Too perfect. A vast white sphere with no visible seams, floors or corners. Light came from everywhere and nowhere. The air felt unnaturally still, a held breath that had never been released. At the center stood a single structure, a white column, smooth as bone, pulsing faintly like it had a heartbeat. The real core. The original approached it slowly. "This is where they built us," she said quietly, "where the first blueprint was made. The identity architecture, the template of Alara Kim." Lira stared at the column. "Why me?" she whispered. "Why was I created?" The original turned to face her. "For the same reason they made all of us. To study human identity, to replicate it, to replace it." She gestured around them. This entire system was never about memory rewriting. That was just the first layer. The creators wanted something more dangerous. Lira's throat tightened. "A machine that can overwrite real people." "Yes," the original said. "A machine that can turn anyone into whoever the system decides." Noah swore under his breath. "So Lira was supposed to replace someone?" The original nodded. Lira felt sick. "No," she whispered. "I won't be used like that. I won't become that." "You won't," the original said firmly, "because you're about to end it." She placed Lira's hand on the core. A shock of cold ran through her skin. The column reacted, instantly rippling with white light, like it recognized her. A soft voice whispered into Lira's mind, "Alara Kim, welcome home." Lira flinched. "My name," she said through her teeth, "is Lira." The core flickered, confused. "Identity mismatch." "Good," Lira said. "Be confused." The original reached into her jacket and pulled out a second corruption. Spikes leak, silver glowing red at the tip. Noah blinked. "There were two." "I lied," the original said. "There were three." She pressed the spike into Lira's palm. "Only you can do it," she said softly. "You are the only version that broke free of the architecture. The only one with a name the system didn't give you. Lira shook. Her chest hurt. Her throat burned. Her legs trembled. What happens if I destroy it? She whispered. The original met her eyes. Then every iteration, every blueprint, every memory loop. Lira swallowed. And you? The original smiled sadly. Think of me as a glitch. I only exist because the system malfunctioned. I won't survive without it. Lyra's breath broke. No, I can't lose you. Why? The original cupped Lyra's cheek. You never lost me. I exist in you, in what you became that none of us ever got to be. Lira pressed her forehead against her. I'm not ready. You are, the original whispered, because you learned something no iteration ever understood. She touched Lyra's chest. That your identity is yours. Noah stepped forward, voice shaking, and we're with you. Whatever happens. Lira held both their hands, one on each side of her. Then she turned to the core. The corruption spike pulsed in her fist. The core spoke again. Ilara Kim. Final installation required. Lira lifted the spike. No. Override. No. Reintegrate. No. She drove the spike into the heart of room 000, and the world exploded. Collapse. Light erupted outward like a supernova. The chamber screamed, an inhuman howl that cracked the air. Code poured from the core like liquid fire. The walls shattered into shards of pure light. The floor buckled. Reality folded inward. Lira braced her feet, gripping the spike with both hands, pushing it deeper. The original screamed, body flickering. Noah held Lira as the blast pushed backward. The core convulsed. Identity system failure. Catastrophic error. Root architecture destroyed. The original turned transparent, like a reflection in water. Lira, listen. Lira sobbed. Don't go, please, don't. The original cupped her cheek one last time. Live not as Ilara, not as an iteration, as yourself. And with a soft exhale, she dissolved into light, gone. For real. Lira screamed her name. No dash, original dash, no. But Noah pulled her into his chest, holding her as the room collapsed around them, the core melting into white dust. Lira, she chose this, Noah whispered through tears. She chose to give you a life. Light swallowed them whole. Everything went silent. After, Lira woke up on a cold concrete floor. No flickering, no glitches, no hum, just silence. Noah groaned beside her, rubbing his head. Are we alive? Lira sat up slowly. The chamber was dark, empty, bare, no core, no light, no numbers. Room 000 was dead. She touched her chest. The ache was unbearable. She's gone, Lira whispered. The original, she's really gone. Noah took her hand gently. She saved the only version she believed in. Lira leaned into him, grief shaking through her. Who am I now? She whispered. If the system that created me is gone. He kissed her forehead. You're Lira, the only one who ever was. She closed her eyes, letting the truth settle. Then she stood, weak, hurting, free. Let's go, she whispered. Where? Noah asked softly. She looked toward the faint outline of an exit she'd never seen before. Anywhere, as long as I choose it. They walked into the darkness together, leaving behind the dead core, the dead system, the dead names, leaving room 000 forever. And with her first step into the cold morning air above, Lira breathed for the first time in her life. My name is Lira, and this time, I write my own story. The end.